the title screen, which is faded. There we go. Just that by touching the controller.
Oh, you mean that thing I should probably pick up?
At some point.
Hi, fire.
So, we are out of the prologue and into the game proper, or at least we will be as soon as the new game button gets pressed.
I mean, I pressed the button.
Wait for it. Here we go. We gotta have a hill.
With many much swords.
I am the bone of my sword. Steel is my body, and fire is my blood. Created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death, nor known to life, have withstood pain to create many weapons, and yet those hands will never hold anything. And so, as I pray, unlimited blade works. Don't remember starting on Unlimited Blade Works. That's interesting. When I came to, I was lying in a burning field. It must have been a big fire. The familiar town was an unrecognizable, smoking ruin. It looked like a scene from a war movie. The sight didn't last long, though. As morning dawned, fires gradually died down. The towering walls of flame shrunk to embers. Most of the buildings looked to have collapsed. It felt so strange, being the only unchanged thing in the town. I was the only one left alive. I was either fortunate, or the house I'd been inside was built on the luckiest ground of all time. Either way, I was the only one alive. Since I'd survived, I felt I needed to keep on living. I walked aimlessly, thinking it would be dangerous to remain where I was. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid becoming what had happened to everyone else around me. Those scorched, blackened masses. It wasn't a feeling of disgust. Some other emotion was driving me on. At the same time, I had no hope. It was a miracle that I was alive at all. I didn't think I was going to last much longer. There was just no way in hell I was going to survive. There was simply no way I would ever escape this crimson hellscape no matter what I did. That was how desperate, how hellish this place was, even through the eyes of a young boy. And then I collapsed. Either there was no air around me, or I simply couldn't breathe anymore. I just collapsed, and all I could do was to look up at the slowly clouding sky. The scorched black masses around me lay motionless. The dark clouds covered the sky, promising rain. Good. The rain will put out the fires. I took one final deep breath and looked up at the rain clouds. I couldn't breathe, but I still felt pain. I said that out loud, on behalf of all those people who couldn't say those words themselves. That was 10 years ago. Miraculously, in the midst of all that, I was saved. My physical body survived, but everything else was scorched, reduced to ash. When a young child loses their parents or their home, there's really nothing left of them. And so, everything other than my body perished. Put as simply as possible, in exchange for my body living, my heart died.
Oof.
Yeah, Shiro's got some baggage. I'm dreaming. Share has some baggage, which is called survivor's guilt. Remember that park that Reen mentioned was super on fire at the end of the last Grail War?
Yeah, I had a feeling that might have been what it was, because it certainly sounded like that might have been him being there for the fallout of the last Grail War.
I squinted, seeing a bright, white light. It was blinding. Light stabbed at my eyes when I woke. I doubt I really knew what the sensation of blinding light was in the first place. As my eyes adjusted, I woke, alarmed. I was lying in a bed I didn't recognize in a room that I didn't recognize. I was honestly stunned, but the cleanliness of the white room made me feel at ease. I looked blankly at my surroundings. The room was spacious and beds lined it in neat rows. All the beds were full, and it looked like each bed's occupant was injured. But the room didn't feel depressing at all. Everyone injured survived. I let my eyes wander. I looked out the window. The clear blue sky was so incredibly beautiful. A few days passed, and I was finally able to take in the situation. I had no problem remembering what happened the days before. But I wasn't much different from a newborn during this time. Strange as it is, that was closer to the truth than might seem possible. The fire was just that bad. I was rescued from the fire. I awoke in a hospital, my parents were gone, and my entire body was wrapped in bandages. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I did know that I was alone. It didn't take long for me to accept my circumstances.
And the ridiculous amount of medical debt I was in.
Quick, Shiro, are your eyes suddenly really good at depth perception? No, not this time. Maybe I had no choice, really. All the other children were in the same boat. And then, later, in the moment, I, naive as I was, started to worry about what would become of me. He walked in. He appeared the day my bandages came off, and I started eating on my own. His hair was disheveled, his suit tattered. He looked a bit younger than my doctor. He looked more like someone's older brother than someone's dad.
Konnichiwa. Kimi ga Shiro-kun da ne?
His beaming smile seemed to blend into the pouring white sunlight. His voice was somehow irritatingly fake yet extremely gentle.
率直に聞くけど、孤児院に預けられるのと、初めて会ったおじさんに引き取られるの、君はどっちがいいかな?
Hello, little boy. I know everything you knew and loved just burned to death in a fire, but I'm gonna give you two choices. Go live in a hellish orphanage, or go home with a man that literally just introduced himself to you. Take your pick. He was offering to take me in.
So, out of curiosity,
Uh-huh.
is the person randomly offering to take him in the victor of the last Grail War who felt guilty about orphaning a bunch of people?
Technically, no.
But was one of the combatants?
Uh-huh. Sure was.
It spoke of, I'm sorry I put you in this situation.
Yeah. Technically, the last Grail War didn't really have a winner, so to speak.
So mutually assured destruction.
I asked if we were related. He said we were complete strangers. Oh, hey, random child, how are you? Oh, by the way, I'm a sorcerer. Shit, he wanted that. Yeah. He looked like an unremarkable, unreliable guy. But then again, he was no more or less familiar than the orphanage. So I decided I'd go with him. I mean, sure, why not?
よかった。なら早く身支度を済ませよう。新しい家に一日でも早く慣れなくっちゃいけないからね。
Yeah, by the way, this guy also just starts lying to this child and tells me he's a motherfucking sorcerer. He started getting my things hastily.
I mean, he hasn't said anything about magic yet. I just assumed that someone coming out of the blue to offer adoption to
To a random child.
who was really, really badly injured at the location of the Grell War.
Uh-huh.
My brain knows tropes, and I just went, either he won it, or he survived it.
Yeah. You don't understand. Your cat was a threat to the world because of reasons. Yeah. He started gathering, yeah, even as young as I was, I could see he wasn't any good at it. And after he made a mess packing...
Oh, wait, he wasn't good at picking up objects?
Correct.
おっと、大切なことを言い忘れた。うちに来る前に、一つだけ教えなくちゃいけないことがある。
He turned, asking for confirmation. He asked so casually, as if asking me if there was somewhere I wanted to go.
はじめに言っておくとね、僕は魔法使いなんだ。
Utsukai. He said it in a serious, almost ceremonious manner.
Wait. But theoretically, doesn't that mean like, per mage law, he's technically supposed to now murder the child he's adopting?
No, it's fine as long as they're members of your family. Because you're ostensibly training them to be your successor.
Right, but he also just openly acknowledged they're not related.
Yeah, they are now. He's getting adopted. He said it in a serious, almost ceremonious manner. And the other thing is, Kiritsugu doesn't really give two shits about what the Mages Association has to say.
I'm just saying, I'd like some consistency in their rules here.
Oh, it's very consistent. Kiritsugu doesn't give a fuck. It happened so fast. Now that I think back, I was also immature. I was 7. I just accepted his words as fact. I took it neither as a joke or a genuine statement.
So you took it as what exactly? Cause
Ambiguous.
no, I'm sorry, but on a statement like that, it's one or the other. It's not somewhere in the middle.
Kiritsugu believes the best kind of magic is gunpowder. Yeah, true story. He does have a thing for guns.
じいさんすごいな。
That feels a bit premature. We met literally a minute ago. Hi, Dad!
Remember, Shiro did just get done saying he was basically a newborn at this point. So he immediately imprinted on Kiritsugu like a newborn does. I guess I said something like that, with eyes wide in astonishment. And I was his child. Actually, I don't really remember how that conversation went. But every now and then, my old man would bring it up. He would recount that scene over and over, acting all embarrassed. That scene might have been the happiest day of my old man, a man named Kiritsugu Emiya's, life. You can say that it was one thing for him to tell a recently orphaned kid he was a magician. But I was no better, the way I so eagerly bought into it. And that was how my old man adopted me, and how I took the last name Emiya. Shiro Emiya. When I said that name out loud, I felt really proud of having the same last name as Kiritsugu. I'm dreaming. It's from my childhood. It's probably about 8 years ago, since it's about the time when I talked my old man into making me his apprentice. Kiritsugu had started going away on a regular basis once I was old enough to stay home by myself at age 9.
Like our parents had us constantly babysat once we hit that. Once you were.
I was 12 when that happened.
Right, but even then, like, it's not like our babysitters did much actual minding of either of
Oh,
us
they
at
just
that
burned the
point.
popcorn. He'd always give some childish, unbelievable explanation like, I'm going to go on an adventure around the world, and then he'd actually do it. From then on, that's how it always was. It wasn't unusual for him to be gone for a month, and at times he didn't come home for half a year. The Emiya mansion is an expensive Japanese samurai-style house, and Kiritsugu and I were the only ones living there.
Also, point of fact on the subject of you being 12 means I, the younger sibling, was 9 when we stopped requiring a babysitter. So my point stands.
It's a lot easier to tell a kid you're a magician than it is to tell them that you're a guy who turned his own ribs into bullets to shoot people with. Yeah, true story. It felt too big and empty for a child like me, and at times I felt lost. But I liked my life there. Whenever Kiritsugu came home from his trips, he would brag and tell stories like an excited child. And another child, one who shared his last name, always looked forward to those stories. I may have been alone in the mansion, but Kiritsugu's stories always helped lessen that. He was always pursuing a dream like a boy.
I get the feeling Shiro's really effectively the parent in this relationship.
I was weary of his whims, yet at the same time he always looked radiant to me.
Weird way to describe your father figure.
Maybe that's why I hope to be like him one day. Well, as childish as I might have been, I realized I needed to get my act together since I had an old man with his head constantly in the clouds.
I'm doing a pretty good job of calling his life.
January 31st. One day one. I hear a sound. The heavy, rusted hinges on the door creak as it's being pushed open. Light pours in through the crack in the door. My mind tries to shake off the slumber.
先輩起きてますか
Do you recognize that voice yet?
I'm assuming this is Reen waking him up from being borderline dead.
Oh no, we are 2 days before that. We're back on January 31st. That wasn't until no, it's tomorrow. This is the morning before. So the stabbing was February 1st. We are currently on January 31st. So that hasn't happened yet.
No, I don't quite recognize the voice, but that's largely because I was usually reading it over the VA.
You will in a second. Give it a moment. I hear footsteps drawing near, and I feel the winter air flowing in. Oh, you've turned on auto mode, by the way. You might want to undo that. Nope, you've turned it on faster. Nope, that's faster.
I stopped it.
Okay.
I had to cycle through all the speeds to get to stop.
It's Sakura!
先輩
You know, from the archery
朝
club.
ですよまだ時間はありますけどここで眠っていたら藤村先生に怒られます
You remember Fujimura?
I do.
The one who's in charge of the archery club and is really, really good at kendo?
そうだな。よく起こしに来てくれた。いつもすまない。
そんなことありません先輩いつも朝は早いですから
Except for now, when I had to wake you up.
こんな風に起こしに来れるなんてたまにしかありません
I'm not sure why, but Sakura looks more cheerful than usual.
そうかな。結構さくらには起こされてるぞ、俺。けど、藤姉には叩き起こされるから、さくらの方が助かる。これに懲りずに次は頑張る。
There's basically a single person who actually uses the word senpai with any regularity in this game, and it's Sakura. Yeah, my answer's still half asleep. My head's still not right, so even I don't know what I'm saying.
はいわかりましたでも頑張ってもらわない方が嬉しいです私
Also, yeah, Shiro got a giant ass house from his dad and then chooses to sleep on the concrete floor of the shed out back every night. Sakura is giggling. Ah, crap, I must still be so sleepy I've said something weird.
ちょっと待ってくれ。すぐ起きるから。
The cold winter air helps at times like this. The chill snaps my lethargic mind awake. And in front of me stands my junior at school, Sakura Mato. Clearly not standing. In my house's storeroom, and it's just about 6 o'clock in the morning.
先輩、
ああ、目が覚めた。ごめんな、さくら。またやっちまった。朝の支度手伝わないといけないのに。
そんなのいいんです。先輩、夕べも遅かったんでしょ。なら朝はゆっくりしてください。朝食の支度は私がしておきますから。
Sakura is practically bouncing with excitement. That's odd. Sakura is weirdly energetic this morning.
バカ、そういうわけにいくか。今起きるから一緒にキッチンに行こう。
You'd think the guy would just leave a futon out or something with how much he sleeps out here.
それじゃあ行こう、さくら。
いえ、その先輩。
なんだよ。他に何かあるのか。
And yes, this girl basically does just show up at his house every morning to make sure he's awake and have breakfast.
いえ、そういうことではないんですけど、その先輩、家に戻る前に着替えた方がいいと思います。
I finally look at myself. I fell asleep working last night, so I'm still wearing my coveralls. The coveralls I wear
He's
when
building a cat tree?
it's probably some kind of furnace, most likely. The coveralls I wear when I'm working are usually dirty. Who knows what Fuji-nee would say or do if I went into the house as is.
まだ目が覚めてないみたいだ。なんか普段に増して抜けてるな、俺。
そうかもしれませんね。ですから朝食の支度は私に任せて、先輩はもう少しゆっくりしていてください。それにほら、ここを散らかしっぱなしにしていたら藤村先生に怒られるでしょ。
そうだな。それじゃあ着替えてから行くから、さくらは先に戻っていてくれ。
はい、お待ちしてますね、先輩。
Sakura quickly walks out. Okay then! I'll change into my school uniform first, then I need to collect all the parts I left scattered around. The storehouse is in the corner of the backyard, and all sorts of junk is crammed in here. Though I've always liked to tinker with gadgets, so the place is a treasure trove to me. The old man forbade me to go into the storehouse, but I ignored his warnings and snuck inside almost every day, and now it's sort of a base for me. I guess you could call this place my real room. The massive Emiya house never felt holy to me, but I've always felt at ease in here, surrounded by all this junk.
そもそももったいないじゃないか。ガラクタって言ってもまだ使えるし。
The majority of the things in the storehouse are everyday things, mostly unusable. I'm not sure whether I brought it all in because I liked it in here, or whether I liked this place because it was full of junk. Either way, I snuck into this storehouse almost daily, and I made sort of a hobby of fixing broken things. I'm not the type who gets attached to things. But it just didn't feel right to neglect things that are still usable, or maybe it would be better to say the idea of doing that just bothered me. Which is why I stayed up all night trying to fix a broken stove.
完成は明日か。途中で寝るなんて集中力が足りない証拠だ。
I try to shake off my self-disgust at that. I gather the parts for the stove and put them back on the shelf of things waiting to get fixed. There's no more room though. Once I fix the stove, an old VCR is up next. Both of which were destroyed by Fuji-nee. We can set that aside for now. I change into my school uniform, which I conveniently keep in the storehouse. Since the storehouse is like my own room, I have all the essentials, including changes of clothes in here. The rest are things like haphazardly drawn blueprints scattered all over the place, and literal junk from my failed attempts at fixing various things. Also, there's some sort of pattern carved into the storehouse's floor, maybe used as some sort of an altar in the past.
Summoning space, got it.
Yeah, basically, essentially.
さて、今日も一日頑張って精進しよう。
I clap my hands in prayer at the storehouse and turn towards the mansion. Thank you, storehouse gods, for seeing me safely through another night passed out of the cold stone floor. I walk from the storehouse to the mansion. This Emiya residence is a Japanese-style house located on the outskirts of town. My old man wasn't from a notable family, yet for some reason he owned this giant house. That in itself was a mystery, and it also seems he didn't have any relatives here in Japan. And so, when my old man died... Oh yeah, Kiritsugu's dead, by the way. There was no one else to inherit this mansion, so it came to me as his adopted son. Though, to be honest, I don't have any administrative abilities. So, things like inheritance, property taxes, and other complicated things are all handled by Old Man Fujimura. Old Man Fujimura is a major businessman who lives nearby. Kiritsugu described Old Man Fujimura as an old man who's like a Yakuza boss, because he's literally a Yakuza boss.
I was about to say, so he's literally a Yakuza boss.
He's literally a Yakuza boss, yes. He's not like a Yakuza boss. He is a Yakuza boss. Obviously, that was his own biased view.
No actual fact.
No literal actual fact. In fact, Old Man Fujimura is not like a Yakuza boss. He is a Yakuza boss. That may be a problem in itself, but I try not to dwell on it. Anyway, that's why I live in this giant mansion on my own. It's been 5 years since my old man died. I love that he's giving all this internal narration to himself for some reason.
Yep.
Time sure does fly. I sigh, thinking about how much I've grown in those 5 years. I trained every day to become like Kiritsugu, but that's easier said than done. It's not surprising since I didn't have what it takes from the start, but the fact that I haven't improved at all these past 5 years forces me to reassess things. If I had to sum up my current situation, I'd say I set the bar too high. I haven't even reached the starting line. No, rushing won't do me any good. For now, I just have to do what I can. Okay then. What I need to do now is save the game. So if you press
Plus?
no,
Well, it did quick save.
that is a quick save. I think it's Y opens the menu and then just go to save and make a new one. Or yeah, just save over the prologue. That's fine. Yeah, there were no choice points in the prologue. We just want to make sure we have saves at the choice points in case you want to go back and see other stuff later. Alright. Now. The game begins. You get to make choices. Choices about things.
Oh, are you telling me to make a choice?
Yeah, it's... You wanna go help Sakura make breakfast or do your chores?
Chores sound boring. Go help Sakura.
Sakura point +1. Right, I need to help Sakura. Making someone younger than me do all the work would be embarrassing, and I feel bad for Sakura coming here so early in the morning. But I'm too late. Breakfast looks to be done already. The appetizing scent of the breakfast Sakura cooked wafts toward me from the kitchen. Sakura finished cooking and she's searching the cupboards for dishes.
面目ない。せめて食器の用意ぐらいはやるから、さくらは座っててくれ。
もう来ちゃったんですか、先輩。
もうじゃないぞ。6時10分って言ったら朝飯を食ってる時間じゃないか。完全に寝坊だよ。
そんなことはないと思いますよ。先輩は部活をしていないんですから、この時間は十分に早起きです。
Yeah, Shiro's in the go home club.
部活は関係ない。それを言ったら朝練があるさくらがうちに来てくれるのも問題じゃないか。
いえ、私は好きでしていることですから、部活のことは気にしないでください。
ああ、それは何度も聞いた。だから俺も部活に関係なく早起きしてるんだ。さくらが来てくれるならその時間には起きてないと失礼だろ。
I do have a lot of prior experience reading Shiro's internal dialogue. This is very true. To me, waking up early is waking up before Sakura gets here, and oversleeping means I make Sakura prepare breakfast on her own. Like today. Though this arrangement started only about a year and a half ago.
ともかくさくらは休んでろよ。あとは並べるだけなんだから、それぐらい俺にやらせてくれ。
I stand next to Sakura and pull out the dishes. Sakura has a surprisingly stubborn side, so she won't rest unless I really push.
なら、私もお手伝いします。お皿には私が盛りますから、先輩はお茶碗を出してください。
いや、だから全部こっちでやるからいいってば。
いけません。先輩はお家の主人なんですから、朝くらいはドーンと構えていてください。
ドーンと構えろって。さくら一人に働かせてのんびりしている主人なんて家主失格だぞ。いいからさくらは今に行ってろって。
We also have a standing room for standing.
ぜひ失格してください。これ、いつも美味しいご飯を食べさせてもらっているお返しなんです。だからできれば先輩にはゆっくりしていてほしいです。
食費だったら折半なんだからさくらが気にすることじゃない。感謝なんて言ったら俺がしたいぐらいだ。さくらが来てくれるようになってから飯が豪勢になったからな。
やっぱり先輩分かってなかったんですね。先輩のお家のご飯が美味しいのはそういうことじゃないんです。
そういうことじゃないってどういうことだ。
いえ、何でもありません。けど責任取ってくださいね。私、先輩の家じゃないとご飯を美味しくいただけなくなっちゃったんですから。
バカ、おかしなこと言うな。
Here, she's like, I don't know what that means.
Oh, you dense fool.
Fuji-neeに聞かれたらどうするんだ。あの人には冗談なんて通じないんだから。
そうですね。藤村先生に聞かれたら大変です。
まったくだ。あんまりおかしなこと言うな。
はい、言いません。言いませんからお手伝いしていいですよね、先輩。
Sakura looks me in the eyes so naturally and calmly.
いいよ、好きにしろ。そんなにやりたきゃさくらに任せる。
はい、好きにします、私。
まったく、本当に最近言うこと聞かなくなったよな、さくら。
ですね。藤村先生に似てきたのかもしれません。
He responds softly as she reaches towards the cupboard. Her dark hair gently falls over her shoulder, and the curves of her body catch my eye. 17, man. I can't explain it, but it's awkward. I'm not sure if it's our age, but Sakura's been looking more feminine lately. Her casual movements or her profile are so pretty, and I inadvertently avert my eyes.
先輩どうかしましたか？
Sorry,
いや
checking
どう
you
も
out
してない
accidentally.
どうもしてないから気にしないでくれ。
Not really sure if I describe bright purple as being dark hair, but you do you, sure. Honestly, it's baffling. Why the hell am I getting nervous around my friend's younger sister? Sakura's just a really good and considerate younger friend of mine, and she's someone I need to look after. She's the younger sister of a friend of mine. We used to be friendly, though initially we weren't very close, and she's a grade below me. It was only a year and a half ago that our relationship became more what it is now. Sakura started to come and cook meals for me when I got hurt, and things kind of stayed like that. I think this arrangement was supposed to last until I got better, but I guess something or other happened, and somehow she ended up helping out with household chores. Either way, Sakura's a good cook, and her cleaning and laundry skills are perfect. Having her come early in the morning is a big help, but it's been disconcerting recently. Sakura isn't the problem, it's me.
Hello, hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
True story. Shiro is Taylor Swift. That's true. I'm sure being flustered by my friend's sister is part of the reason I feel guilty. Usually I'm unfazed, but when I blush because I get caught off guard like now, I wonder whether that's problematic as her senpai. Breakfast is lined up neatly on the table. A perfectly balanced meal of chicken with parsley salad, grilled salmon, blanched spinach, miso soup with radish and carrots, and grated yam soup. For breakfast. At 6 in the morning. Sakura and I sit down and bow and begin our meal in silence. The gentle tapping of chopsticks is the only sound in the room. Sakura isn't typically talkative, and I hardly have anything to chat about during meals. So we eat in silence. Normally it's much rowdier than this, but the person who usually causes the commotion must have watched a spy movie or something last night, because she's eyeing the two of us through a newspaper she popped up in front of her food.
And has been sitting here the whole time.
Yeah, Fujimura just comes by and eats Shiro's food. So, she's sort of his legal guardian, kind of, now that Kiritsugu's dead. I mean, her dad handles all the practical shit, really.
ご飯時に
Ah, so she's the daughter of a Yakuza boss.
Why do you think she's so good at kendo?
Fair.
Sakura remarks diffidently, but Fuji-nee ignores her. Fuji-nee's acting weird, but her being weird at breakfast isn't really all that weird for her. Sakura's used to it too, and she's eating as if nothing's the matter. Sakura typically cooks up Western dishes. She really only began learning to cook Japanese dishes since she started coming here to help me out. Sakura learned to cook simple Japanese dishes, at least for breakfast, because Fuji-nee and I prefer them. Now, Sakura's cooking skills have improved to the point that she's better than me, and I'm the one who was teaching her. Her miso soup is flavorful and refined now, and she's even gotten to the point where she can grate yams to make yam soup. Actually, I think today's the first time she's served yam soup.
Well, yes, I wouldn't exactly consider that a breakfast food. Or, a 6 a.m. food.
Well, neither would I consider chicken and grilled fish breakfast foods, but here we are.
I mean, I've put chicken in my breakfasts before, but... And grilled fish is served with... Or fish is served with pretty much everything in Japan. Fish and rice, but...
悪い。さくら、醤油取って。
はい大変です先輩。先輩のお醤油は昨日で切れてます。
Oh yeah, you best get used to Shiro going on long food tangents, yeah. Shiro really likes to talk about food.
じゃあ、Fuji-neeのでいいや。取って。
We can't help that you live 5 hours in the future.
Yeah, Mara, stop living 5 hours in the future and you wouldn't have these problems.
藤村先生、いいですか？
Fuji-nee nods. The newspaper shuffles.
はいどうぞ。とろろ汁に使うんですか？
まあ、とろろには醤油だろう、普通。
Do they? Does everyone put soy sauce on grated yams? A line of soy sauce streams from the bottle onto the grated white mount. White?
Aren't yams usually, like, yellowish orange?
That's my understanding, yeah. What kind of yams do you got over there, Shiro? It sounds like potatoes. I stir the mixture up, pour it over my rice, and take a bite. The stickiness of the grated yam combined with the intense flavor of the soy sauce.
うわ、まずこれソースだぞ、ソース。しかもオイスター。
Poor baby.
Fuji-nee tosses her newspaper onto the table with an enthusiastic flick of her wrists.
どうだ。朝のうちにソースとお醤油のラベルを取り替えておく作戦なのだ。
Fujimura is great. She's you know how I said that the bad endings were totally worth watching because they're the best part of the game?
Uh-huh.
Guess who facilitates them?
Hey.
She's the host of the bad endings.
So, I like her, but in particular this stunt, and, this is the sort of insight into our lives that people will appreciate. How long ago would you say you and Baz recorded this series? Because I'm wondering if this might have been an influence on the mashed potato incident that our cousin still hates you
I
for.
don't think so, because that was that my graduation or yours?
That was your bachelor's graduation.
So that would have been before we started doing this. We started this in December of 2012. And I would have graduated in the summer of that same year.
Your bachelor's in Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess. 3 years ahead of me.
Yeah.
But...
So
the incident I'm referring to, chat, is at Inu's bachelor's graduation party. Our parents had it catered, and, it was kind of the usual fare, like roast beef, pasta with red sauce, mashed potatoes, salad, Caesar dressing. Except a certain someone sitting to my left decided, this Caesar dressing looks an awful lot like gravy. So he put it next to the mashed potatoes.
sure did.
And half of our family ended up putting Caesar dressing on their mashed potatoes. And our cousin has sworn eternal vengeance on him for it.
It's not my fault none of them bothered to check.
I mean, I knew better than to trust anything you put anywhere, so I taste tested before I did that shit, but...
To be fair, I didn't actually know what I was handed, like... Well, I think Mom just handed me a thing and said, go put this on the table, and I looked at it and was like, yeah, it looks like gravy, I'll put it by the mashed potatoes. Like, I fully take credit for it, but it was absolutely unintentional.
But, yeah, genuinely one of our cousins had sworn eternal vengeance on my brother.
I didn't even know it was a thing until, like, they were asking about it. And then they said what it was, and I just started laughing because it was so funny.
You walked in on story time, inspired by something that happened in the game, but is genuinely a lovely real-world story that regarding my brother that I can, put on the internet forever. So
I feel like I might have mentioned it at one point in the past. But...
definitely worth straining my throat for. Yeah. Also, side note, in case anyone's noticed the fact that I sound a little nasally today, I've got a sinus thing going on because rapid temperature changes and I don't agree with each other.
I very well may have mentioned it during this scene. It's entirely possible. The not-so-mysterious spy punches the air in victory.
朝っぱらから何考えてんだあんたは。今年で25のくせにいつまで経っても藤姉は藤姉だな。
Oh yeah, also Fujimura is only 24.
I assume they did that to make her less creepy of a viable love interest.
Oh, there's no love interest here. None whatsoever. She's just an older sister.
昨日の恨み思い知ったか。みんなと一緒になってお姉ちゃんをいじめるやつには当然の天罰ってところかしら。
天罰ってのは人為的なもんじゃないだろう。なんかおとなしいと思ったら昨日からこんなこと考えてやがったのか。この暇人。
There's no such thing as having too much time on your hands for vengeance.
I mean, she has as much free time as she wants. She is a mafia princess.
そうだよ。おかげでこれから急いでテストの採点しなくちゃいけないんだから。そういうわけで急がないとやばいのだ。
Fuji-nee sits back down and shovels her breakfast into her mouth.
I see chat quite likes her.
I told you, Fujimura is great. Everybody loves Taiga.
お粗末様でした、先生。それじゃ先に行くわね。二人とも遅刻したら怒るわよ。
Before I settled on what I did for my cat, I very nearly named her after Taiga. True story.
Well, given what I assume her name kind of translates to, I wouldn't be mad about it. Considering how often I refer to your cat as Tiny Tiger, as a contrast to my cat, who is Little Lion.
And off she goes, stomping out in a rush. There's something terribly wrong with a world that allows someone like her to be a teacher.
I don't know, game. They allow me in a school building, and most kids routinely think I'm a teacher.
Yeah, but you're technically not.
No, I'm a social worker, which arguably is even worse because I am a sarcastic asshole.
There is, however, something wrong with a world that allows that one friend of yours from college to be a teacher because she just gets bullied by her students.
So the friend Inu's referencing
She's
is
about 4 foot nothing.
She's 4'9", thank you. But
Goes to bed at like 6 p.m.
But fun fact, she's literally barely tall enough to be able to drive. And when she was student teaching, in, I want to say she had 8th graders at the time. And she was trying to get them all to take their seats. And I don't think she was capable. I still, to this day, don't think she's capable of raising her voice above this.
That's shouting for her.
But she came back after her first day of student teaching with 8th grade, sat down in our circle of friends at our school, and goes, I don't know how I'm going to get through this semester. And I'm like, well, why? She goes, because I was trying to get a student to sit back down and listen. And their solution was to stand up from their seat so that they were about a solid foot taller than her. Well, probably not a solid foot, but that's the way she referred to it. To look down at her and told her, I'm taller than you, so I don't have to listen. Because middle school logic. And like the helpful and supportive friend that I am, my response was to laugh.
I mean, it was also her brother that I traumatized, wasn't it?
Yep, sure was.
Dumbass made the mistake of asking me for anime recommendations. And to be fair, I gave him a really good one. I just misled him tremendously because I was like, oh, you should go watch Madoka. It's a cute show about cute girls doing cute things and nothing bad ever happens. I literally said it exactly that way. Cute show about cute girls doing cute things and nothing bad ever happens. And for some reason, he believed that wholeheartedly, didn't catch the sarcasm there,
Look, Joshua
and then
is a
blamed
special
me for
snowflake.
episode 4.
Yep.
Madoka. That's which anime, you know.
Madoka Magica.
Madoka Maguka.
先輩
すまない。せっかくの朝食だっていうのに、藤姉のやつ、ろくに味わいもしないで。
いえ、そういうのではなくて、昨日藤村先生に何かしたんですか？食べ物に細工するなんて藤村先生にしてはやりすぎですから。
Yeah, exactly. That is a skill issue. Who doesn't hear and nothing bad ever happens and assume that that is in fact a lie?
昨日ついあだ名で呼んじまった。
Like, I could not have been clearer that it was not simply a cute show about cute girls doing cute things.
Look, Joshua is ridiculously trusting. And didn't understand this. Didn't understand this to my left.
それじゃあ仕方ありませんね。先輩、藤村先生に謝らなかったんでしょう。
面目ない。いつものことなんて忘れてた。
ダメですよ。藤村先生、先輩にあだ名を言われるのだけは嫌がるんですから。また泣かせちゃったんでしょう。
泣かした上にダットのごとく走り去らせた。おかげで昨日の英語は自習だった。
In fact, everyone in class worked together to make an award for me from their notebook paper because of that. I threw it away, obviously.
Rude. When you can get an entire class of students to agree on doing something nice for someone, you reward the fuck out of that.
もう、それじゃあ、今朝のは先輩が悪いです。
Don't take her side, Sakura. Fuji-nee is like an older sister to Sakura, so she's typically on Fuji-nee's side. Which is fine on its own, but I wish she'd consider the fact that I have to deal with Fuji-nee all day long. Fuji-nee was originally an acquaintance of my old man, and she's swung by the house pretty frequently since I was adopted. She kept on coming over even after my old man died, and now she acts like a freeloader, eating breakfast and dinner every day.
You do understand you could just kick her out?
I don't think he could. I'm pretty sure she has keys.
Which he could take back.
No, keys he doesn't know about.
Because the
And
thing
could
about...
just get from her dad anyway.
But the thing about owning your house is you have the ability to kick people out of it.
Well, let's be clear. We don't actually know for sure that Shiro owns his house. We know that he inherited it and then didn't understand any of that shit and let old man Fujimura take care of it. So he might not own his house.
That's fair.
Her dad runs the fucking mafia. Who do you think would happen if Shiro if he tried kicking her out? Yeah, exactly. Actually, it might have been thanks to Fuji-nee that I was able to make it on my own after my old man died. And now it's me, Fuji-nee, and Sakura who are the residents of this Emiya house, except that neither Fujimura or Sakura actually live here. But at the same time, I'm the only one who knows that my old man was a mage. They say mages have to keep that part of their lives secret. Which is why I've also been hiding from others that I'm learning Magecraft after I became my old man's apprentice. Okay, so learning might be a bit of a stretch, really, since I can barely use Magecraft properly. So it wouldn't make much of a difference whether I hide Magecraft or not, but since it was my old man's dying wish, I've been training in secret. I finish breakfast and get ready for school. I put away the dishes with Sakura as I listen to the news on TV in the background. Sakura's looking blankly at the TV. A flashy caption reading, "Gas leaks continue," pops up on the screen.
Translation, magic!
Yes, the church does love covering up magic by claiming that there was a gas leak.
So...
It's remarkable.
I mean, here's the thing. That's kind of like an ongoing joke in a lot of fantasy media, especially where they try and integrate like real world mechanics to a magic system. You see it in all sorts of TV shows and mixed media where it's like, okay, how are we explaining to normies what is clearly the work of magic? And you know, you get gas leaks, you get earthquakes, you get, like... Oh, you know, that witness to this Magecraft was clearly on hallucinogenic drugs or something of that nature.
Yeah, so remember that part where Shiro got murked by Lancer because he was a normie who saw mage shit? Yeah, about that. Kind of off base there, Lancer. There seems to have been a big accident in the neighboring city of Shinto. It happened in a building in the business district. Apparently everyone on one of its floors lost consciousness from oxygen deprivation. Authorities have been calling it an accident resulting from gas leaks, but for some reason these incidents have been happening often.
Well, yeah, because whoever summoned Lancer is trying to make Lancer stronger, presumably. Because it was the same thing that they tried to do
今の
at
ニュー
school.
ス気になるのか、さくら。
いえ、別に。ただ、事故がシントで起きているなら近いなって。先輩、シントの方でアルバイトしていますよね。
してるけど、別にそんな大きな店じゃないよ。今のニュースみたいな事故は起きないと思う。
But I can't entirely ignore the idea either. Gas leaks can happen in any building, and it especially pains me to think that hundreds of people have fallen victim. Some say that these accidents are happening because of faulty construction work done during the rapid development projects in Shinto. Either way, I hope there won't be any more victims.
物騒な話だ。俺たちも気をつけないと。
あ、それならご心配なく先輩。ガスの元栓はいつも2回チェックしてますから安心です。
Sakura proudly proclaims that she is the best at making sure the gas is off.
いや、そういう話でなくて。
Yep, I've always known Sakura's a little off, too.
先輩、裏手の戸締まりはしました？
したよ。缶抜きかけたけど、問題あるか？
ありません。それじゃあ鍵かけますね。先輩。
少し遅くなると思う。さくらは？
私はいつも通りです。多分私の方が早いと思いますから、夕食の下準備は済ませておきますね。
うん、助かる。俺もできるだけ早く帰るよ。
There's a giant fire downtown. Apparently some guy walked around lighting everything up just by standing there and turned everyone into flaming zombies. Oh, that was just swamp gas. Yeah. The gate is locked tight. Sakura and Fuji-nee both have keys to the house, and the rule is that whoever leaves last is in charge of locking everything up.
行こうか。急がないと朝練に間に合わない。
それじゃあ少しだけ急ぎましょうか、先輩。
Sakura and I walk into town. We walk downhill, along a long wall, to reach a more populated residential area. The Emiya house is located on top of a hill, away from the center of town. What is it with these people? What is it with Type Moon and putting every fucking main character's house on top of a goddamn hill? Mahoyo, top of a hill. Tsukihime, top of a hill. Fucking Stay Night, top of a hill. Everybody lives on the top of a hill.
Vantage point.
Every damn time. Probably before the whole Chaldea thing, fucking Ritsuka lived on top of a hill. Heading down the hill leads us to the residential area. Going further down, we reach the intersection at the center of town. Several roads lead out from the center of town. There's a large bridge that connects to the neighboring town. A hill that leads to the Ryudo Doshi, the Ryudo Temple. We've got a residential area located opposite my house. A shopping district that both Sakura and I often go to. And finally, there's a path that leads to our school. We head straight to school without taking any detours. It's barely 7 o'clock, so there's hardly anyone around. Students making their way to their morning club activities are the only ones to be found along our route. I see Sakura off at the school gate as usual. Sakura's in the Kyudo club, so this is where we usually split off. And yet, Sakura doesn't budge this morning.
Sakura, 体の調子悪いのか？
いえ、そういうことじゃなくて、先輩、たまには道場。
いや、別に道場に用はないぞ。それに今日は一斉に頼まれてるから生徒会室に行かないとまずい。
Guys, I can't fuck with the timeline. You've got to go to the club, run into Rin has to leave, run into Shinji, then go to the school, and then she runs into Shiro and Issei.
そうですよね。ごめんなさい。余計なことを言っちゃって。
Sakura quickly bows her head.
それじゃあ失礼します。晩ご飯頼 楽しみにしていてくださいね。
Sakura runs towards the dojo, seeming almost apologetic. What was that? I wonder what that was all about.
Issei, いるか？
いるぞ。今朝は少し遅かったな、エミヤ。
Issei glances up from his desk, looking like he's been studying some papers.
一星だけか。他の連中はどうしたんだ？この時間なら登校しててもおかしくないだろ
いや、あいにくとうちのメンバーはビジネスライクでね。働く時間帯はきっかり決まっていて、早出と残業はしたくないのだそうだ。
Well,
う。
maybe
それ
you
で生徒
should
会
make
長
them
自ら
salary
が
instead of
雑用
hourly.
か。ここはここで大変そうだな。
何？好きでしている苦労だ。エミヤに同情してもらうのは筋が違う。
いや、一星に同情なんてしてないぞ。
それはそれで無念だが、聞き流すとしよう。情が移っているということでは同じだからな。
Issei, who's gathering his papers into a single sheaf and tapping the edge against the table to square them neatly, is the big boss of the student council. He's been working to reform the student council, which has grown quite lax, and he's been a friend of mine since our first year in school. His full name is Issei Ryudo. Despite his old-fashioned sounding name, he has elegant facial features, and he's popular with the girls. He's also the student council president, so you'd think he would have the leg up over everyone else, but that's not exactly the case.
やはり朝は舌がしびれるほどの熱湯が良い。
I like him.
Issei's pretty cool, yeah. He's saying stuff like that as he sips tea that prevents him from quite sticking the landing. As evidenced, Issei is quite plain. He's prone to be misunderstood, yet he neither dabbles in relationships nor he does what typical students do for fun. He's the heir of Ryudo Temple, which sits atop a mountain. Top of a hill, naturally. He himself understands that he will inherit the temple, and there's a strong possibility that he'll shave his head without so much as a complaint as soon as he graduates from school.
それで、今日は何をするんだ？
ああ、まあともかく座って一服と言いたいのだが、時間がないな。移動がてら説明をするゆえ、いつもの道具を持ってついてきてくれ。
Good old Issei Ryudo Temple
率直に言うとな、
story.
うちの学校、金のバランスが極端なんだよ。
知ってる。運動系がひいきされてるもんで、他に予算がいかないんだろ？
Story of every high school ever. Give all the money to the sports clubs and none of it to the band.
Or the theater kids.
Nobody cares about them.
結果文化系の部員は絶えず不遇の扱いでな。今年から文化系に予算が行くよう尽力しているのだが、予算の流れが不鮮明でうまく回っていない。おかげで未だ文化系の部室は不遇でな。
Besides, the theater club is doing its job right. They can make their own money. Just gotta put on the performances, collect the ticket revenue, bam, you've paid for your club. Problem solved.
Except that those performances require costumes,
Yeah, so,
which require money.
yeah, you're making money from tickets.
Yes, to cover the cost of the costumes, which then leaves you with nothing else.
Well, you got the costumes you can put on your play. Problem solved. You don't really have overhead costs when you're out of a school. You just have to, buy the shit you need to put on the play.
特に冬のストーブ不足に関しては打開策がまるでない。
そうか。マイナスドライバーくれ。一番大きいやつな。あと動線も。 れぐらいならなんとか。
動線これか。
What's
Sma.
a
Yoku
conductor? Isn't that the guy that stands on a train and goes choo choo?
No, it's the guy that flaps his arms in front of a band or an orchestra.
No, that's a traitor, is what that is.
間違っていたら
Well,
叱って
just
くれ
because our conductor betrayed us your senior year, my freshman year, doesn't change the fact that that was essentially his job description, was stand in front of group of musically inclined students and flap.
当たってるからいいよ。で、ストーブ不足
He's
がどうしたっ
retired
て
now.
He is.
ここ以外にも故障してんのがあんのか？
ある。第二小学室と美術部の暖房器具が怪しいそうだ。新品購入願いの嘆願書が刻一刻と増えている。
けど予算にそんな
I
余
like the
裕は
idea
な
that
い
the
と。
forms are piling up because, like, they're just
Yeah,
like, well,
probably
the last one
they're
didn't get us any response. I'm
Not
gonna
gonna
submit
get it
5
back to
more.
Scott.
治りそうか、エミヤ。
治るよ。こういう時古いやつは分かりやすくていい。配線系のショートだから新しいのに変えればとりあえず今年いっぱいは頑張ってくれる。
Hey, Def is playing Zelda.
Okay. Oh, which one? The new
I
one?
didn't see it fast enough, but I would assume the new one.
I have not bought it yet, but I kind of really want it. Because they finally did the thing. You get to play as Zelda!
They did that 20 years ago on the CDI. Wand of Gamelon, you got to play as Zelda.
You mean the game no one talks about because it was, like, patently bad?
I mean, all of the CDI games were, but that's besides the point.
そうか。やるな、エミヤ。お前が頼りになると極めて嬉しいぞ。
It'd be a real shame if he got stabbed to death, huh?
It would be.
おかしな日本語使うね、一世。
You killed me. Good! Yeah, it's great lines. You fucking fantastic voice work.
もう少しで済むからちょっと外に出ててくれ。
Issei, get the hell out of the room so I can finish fixing this stupid air conditioner or whatever.
エミヤの邪魔はせん。
Issei quietly steps out of the classroom. He might be thinking that I'm going to start on some sensitive work.
いや、デリケートといえばデリケートなんだけど。
I put my hand to the old electric stove. No matter how long someone's been fixing things, they can't usually figure out what's wrong by sight. So the fact that I can means what I'm doing is not ordinary. I close my eyes and look inside the stove by touch. And then suddenly, a single image pops into my head. Sakura in a bathing suit. Oh, wait, no.
電熱線が断線しかかってるのが2つと、電熱管はまだ持つな。電源コードの方は絶縁テープでなんとかなる。
Good. I should be able to fix it with just the tools I brought along. If the electrical pipes were broken, it wouldn't be fixable by an amateur. Had that been the case, a certain strengthening would have to be done, which no amateur could manage, but I should be able to fix this one by sight. This is the Magecraft Kiritsugu taught me. To be
So
able
he's basically a
よし、
technopath.
始めるか。
I take off the cover to begin my repairs. I already know where it's broken, so the rest of the work is easy.
これだけは得意なんだけどな、俺。
Kiritsugu was a horrible parent. Well, he was better than not having a parent. Probably. So there's that. That's right. I, Shiro Emiya, have absolutely no talent in Magecraft. But, for some reason, I have a knack for visualizing the structure of things, or blueprints, like I did just now. My old man once saw me imagine and recreate a blueprint. He looked surprised, then muttered, "What a useless talent." Father of the Year. My special talent appears to be pointless. According to my old man, the fact that I can visualize object structures isn't really helpful. A mage normally wouldn't need to survey an object's entire structure like I do. He claims the mage's struggle is to instantly seek out an object's center or its core and transform it as quickly as possible. That's why reading blueprints is a waste of time, and even that only helps seek out areas for magical energy to pass through. And so, fixing broken stuff is one of the only things I'm good at. After all, I don't have to open the entire thing up to find the problem. If I can find the problem quickly, I can fix most things as long as I have the know-how to repair it. Though, I only do that with things an amateur could reasonably be expected to fix.
よし、終わり。次に行くか。
I put away the conductors, pick up the screwdriver and wrench, and head out to the hallway.
伊勢、修理終わったぞ。
Hey, that's the bit where we realized Shiro's voice was off. Oh hey, a female student is standing next to Issei in the hallway. I'm a little surprised. The girl talking to Issei is Rin Tosaka, a second year from Class A. She lives in a giant Western-style mansion up on a big hill, because it's always on top of a fucking hill, and she's an extraordinary honor student. She's pretty, smart, athletic, has literally zero flaws. She's intelligent and polite, and she never brags about her looks. She's truly the ideal girl to guys. Apparently. Which is why the male students treat her like an idol. But Tosaka's just too good, and she's become unattainable. The guys all say the only people who can talk to Tosaka are Issei and the teachers. Well, okay, I'm also a guy. And I'm including myself in the list of her admirers. Tosaka's looking at us, annoyed. I guess rumors are true that Issei and Tosaka don't get along.
と、悪い。頼んだのはこっちなのに、エミヤに任せっきりにしてしまった。許せ。
Whoa. Issei's pretty gutsy talking to me and completely ignoring Tosaka like that.
そんなこと気にするな。で、次はどこだよ。あんまり時間ないぞ。
ああ、次は視聴覚室だ。前から調子が悪かったそうなんだが、この度ついに天寿を全うされた。
天寿全うしてたら直せないだろ。買い直したのが早いぞ。
そうなんだが、一応見てくれると助かる。俺から見れば臨終だが、お前から見れば仮病かもしれん。
そうか。なら試そう。
There's only about 30 minutes until homeroom starts. I'll need to hurry and fix it or I'll run out of time. I head to the audiovisual room. But I realized completely ignoring Tosaka would be rude. I turn to face her since she's been standing there the whole time.
朝早いんだな、トサカ。
I blurt out the first thing that comes to mind and then follow Issei.
ギリギリ間に合ったか。すまんなエミヤ。また苦労をかけた。頼み事をした上に遅刻させては友人失格だ。
別に気にするな。俺が遅刻する分には大したことじゃないだろ。ま、一星が遅刻するのは問題だけど。
もっともだ。いや、間に合ってよかった。
Issei exhales a sigh of relief and heads to his desk. It's exactly 8 o'clock. 5 minutes after the bell for homeroom rings, Fuji-nee will enter the classroom. My breathing is labored since I ran from the audiovisual room. I take a deep breath before I take my seat.
朝から騒がしいねエミヤ。部活を辞めてから何をしてるかと思えば竜道の太鼓持ち。僕には関係ないけどさ、うちの評判を落とすようなことはしないでよね君。なんていうか節操ないからさ。
Oh yeah, remember that student that Mrs. Uri said quit the club recently who was really good at archery?
Uh-huh.
Shiro. Ah. Standing in front of my desk is Shinji Mato. He's been a friend of mine since middle school. His last name is Mato, as evidenced by this fact that I said he was Shinji Mato, and he's Sakura's older brother. He's 1 year older than her.
よ、弓道部は落ち着いてるか、シンジ。
当然だろ。部外者に話してもしょうがないけど、目立ちたがり屋が一人減ったんで平和になったんだ。次の大会だっていいところまで行くさ。
そうか、三綴りも頑張ってるんだな。
はあ？何見当違いなこと言ってんの？弓道部が記録を伸ばしてるのは僕がいるからに決まってるじゃんか。エミやさ、とっくに部外。
そうか、気をつけよう。もっとも弓道部に用はないから関わることはないけどな。
Put my bag on my desk and pull the chair back. I love the fact that despite all the arguments about who's best boy or girl or route, we can all agree on one thing. We all hate Shinji. He's just got a very punchable face.
僕の弓道部には興味がないってこと？
It's not your club.
興味じゃなくて用だよ。部外者なんだからおいそれと道場に行くのは変だろう。けど何かあったら言ってくれ。手伝えることがあったら手伝う。弦張りとか弓の直し、シンジは苦手だったろ。
そう、サンキュー。何か雑用があったら声をかけるよ。ま、そんなことはないだろうけどさ。
Yeah, we never have chores that need doing. We have a Sakura for that.
Theoretically, so does he.
雑用を残しているようなやつは首相失格だからな。あんまり藤村先生を困らせるなよ。あの人怒ると本気で怖いぞ。
余計なお世話だ。ともかくお前はもう部外者なんだから道場に近づくなよ。
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it, loser. Jesus Christ. But now I kind of want to, just to spite you. And just like that, Shinji heads off to his seat, all self-important blustering as ever.
Says a lot about how kind of generally attractive Rin is, that the same asshole who's telling Shinji, you're not allowed to even come near the dojo because you're an outsider.
Nobody told Shinji that. Shinji was telling Shiro that.
Sorry, Shiro. Too many similar names, and my brain's a little foggy. But with Rin, he's like, oh, you can come around anytime, leers aggressively.
Yeah. Huh. He does seem moodier than usual. Yeah, it's because Rin told him he was a shitlord and left. He's just
ふざけた
butthurt.
やつだ。自分からエミヤを追い出しておいてよくもあんな口が聞ける。
なんだ伊勢、いたのか。
What do you mean, was he there the whole time? He didn't just leave the classroom, Shiro. Of course he was there.
なんだとはなんだ。気を利かして聞き耳を立てていた友人に向かってなんと冷淡な男だお前は。
Who, Shinji?
なんで気を利かすのさ。俺一斉に心配されるようなことをしてないぞ。
たわけ心配もするわ。エミヤはカッとなりやすいからな。真珠に殴りかかれば皆は喝采を送るが女どもからは非難の嵐だ。 友人をそんな微妙な立場に置くのはよろしくない。
Yeah, so Shinji's the best shot in the archery club solely because Shiro isn't there anymore, and Shinji's fully aware of that and thus wants him to stay the fuck away so that it'll look better. Yeah.
そっか。言われてみればそうだ。ありがとう、一世。そんなことにはならないだろうけど、今の心配はありがたい。
分かればよろしい。だが意外だったぞ。エミヤは怒りやすいくせにマトウには寛大なんだな。
What was the Bushism where he got that phrase wrong? Was it whim of a hat?
Yeah, the whim of a hat.
ああ、あれはシンジの味だからな。付き合いが長いと慣れてくる。
そんなものか。
そんなものです。ほら、納得したら席に戻れよ。そろそろ藤村先生がすっ飛んでくるぞ。
あの方は飛んでくるというより浮いてくるという感じだから。
Don't make fun of her too much, she says. She might float in like a butterfly, but she'll sting you like a bee. The bell to start homeroom begins. Normally, the homeroom teacher comes into the classroom 5 minutes before homeroom starts, but our teacher isn't what you call typical. Homeroom for Class 2C typically starts 1 minute after the starting bell, in other words. Homeroom starts with the sounds of Fuji-nee's shouts and hurried footsteps. Donk. Fuji-nee tumbles, and I hear some kind of unnatural sound. Contrary to the hectic sounds of a few seconds earlier, the classroom is now dead silent. The mood shifts sharply. It's no wonder Fuji-nee is called a human roller coaster. But honestly, the way she fell didn't seem like a laughing matter. Fuji-nee hit her head against the podium and she's still lying on the floor. Seeing her lying there, face down and unmoving, has everyone imagining the worst.
おい、前の席のやつ、先生起こしてやれよ。
やだよ。近づいた途端パクって食べられたら怖いもん。
ミミックじゃあるまいし、さすがに藤村でもそこまでやらねえだろ。
あんたね、そういうんなら自分で起こしてあげなさいよ。
うわ、俺パス。こういうの苦手。
私だって苦手よ。大体なんで女の子にやらせるわけ？男子やりなさいよね、男子。
The students in the front row start to get rowdy. Those of us sitting in the middle rows can't see what's going on. So we all stand up to get a look.
ちょっと先生動いてないぞ。気絶してんじゃないのか？
Someone brings up the obvious. But the problem is, how would we get Fuji-nee to the infirmary? We're all like comrades in arms after our time dealing with Fuji-nee. Probably nobody's thrilled by the idea of taking a teacher to the
藤
infirmary.
村先生、大丈夫ですか？
A brave girl approaches. Fuji-nee isn't moving. The class grows more concerned.
まずいって今の転び方。こう頭から直角に教壇に突っ込んだじゃないか。
いっそのこと野球部にスカウトする
She's
のは
a
どうだろう。
teacher. I'm not sure that's allowed.
やめろよな、そういう脅しは。タイガーが顧問になった日には俺たち甲子園行っちまうぞ。
藤村先生、藤村先生、ダメ。なんか反応ないよ。
おい、お前目の前なんだから起こしてやれよ。やだよ俺。もし死んでたら殺されかね。
でもだからってほっといたら後が
でも 誰も近づきたくないと。
仕方ねえな。こうなったらあれしかないか。
うん。あれだね。
Everyone's on the same page. Except Shinji and I. We keep quiet because the two of us dared not be a part of what was about to happen.
せーの。
It comes out a whisper, even with so many students speaking in unison. The word tiger is especially inaudible. And yet, Twitch, Fuji-nee's previously motionless body reacts.
動いた。効き目ありだぞみんな。よし続けろ。ガコロートンの刑じゃ。
Everyone must be on edge since midterm tests are approaching. It's a terrible idea on their part, but some students start to wave their arms and chant Fuji-nee's nickname.
起きろタイガー。朝だぞ。
先生、起きないとタイガーです。
負けるなタイガー。立ち上がれタイガー。
よーし起きろ先生。それでこそタイガーだぜ。
タイガー、タイガー、タイガー、タイガー、タイガー。ガー！タイガーって言うな！
Never mind that her name is literally Taiga Fujimura. Okay, she doesn't like to be called Tiger. Like a sudden bolt of lightning striking, Fuji-nee stands valiantly as if the fall hardly scratched her.
みんな何してるの？ダメよ、ホームルーム中に席を立っちゃ。ほらほら、始めるから座りなさい。
Fuji-nee, back to her normal self, stands at the podium. It appears she recalled nothing between the time she jumped into the classroom and the time she woke up.
おい、タイガー覚えてないみたいだぞ。
ラッキー。朝からついてるな俺たち。
いや、ついてるっていうのかな、こういうの。
The students shuffle back to their desks.
今誰か先生のことバカにしなかった？
え、してないっすよ。気のせいじゃないっすか。
そっか、ならよし。じゃあ今朝のホームルームを始めるから、みんなおとなしく聞くように。
Fuji-nee casually starts homeroom. She always goes on digressions between announcements, so it goes slowly.
そういうわけだから、みんなも下校時刻を守るように。
So anyway, there's been a bunch of gas leaks, so everybody go home at a reasonable hour.
門限は6時だから、部活の子たちも長居しちゃダメよ。
6時って言ったらすぐじゃんか。タイガ先生、それって運動系は
されません。それと後藤くん、先生のことは藤村先生って言わなくちゃダメなんだから、次に名前で呼んだら怒るからね。
はーい、以後注意します。
Goto sits back down. He doesn't seem particularly remorseful. Too easy. When Fuji-nee says she gets mad, she gets mad. Doesn't matter if it's with a teacher or a student or some random thug. But that's as close to a serious warning as she's ever gonna give. But Goto doesn't realize it.
Or he doesn't care.
それじゃあ今日のホームルームはここまで。みんな3次元目の英語で会おうね。
Fuji-nee waves and leaves. So that was Taiga Fujimura, the teacher of Room 2C. Her nickname, Tiger. That might seem like a joke, but it isn't. She got the nickname because it sounds like her name, Taiga, but Fuji-nee hates it. According to her, it doesn't sound feminine. But she got the nickname because of how she acts, so she kinda had it coming.
授業を始める。日直例を。
This guy. As Fuji-nee exits the room, the first period teacher enters. Kazuki Muto, I believe is this guy's name. Because Fuji-nee takes up almost all the homeroom time, mornings are always like this for our class. And so, another day of classes ends. There are many types of students. Some immerse themselves in club activities, some hurry home, and some hang out in the classroom after class for no particular reason. I don't really fit in any of those categories.
すまない。ちょっといいか、エミヤ。今朝の続きなんだが、今日は時間あるか？
いや、予定はあるといえばあるけど。
Not as if I don't do anything at all. The biggest reason I quit the Kyudo Club in the first place was that I wanted to prioritize my part-time job. It's been 5 years since I started part-time jobs to earn money for living expenses on my own after my old man died. And when you do so many different jobs, there are some requests you just can't say no to. Today is one of them. I was asked to help restock some product for a bar since they wanted as many strong helping hands as they could get. Though I'm sure I don't have to go help. The bar is likely asking everyone as an excuse to gather some folks and hang out afterwards. There are two options. I should save the game again in a new slot. No extra reading points for us today. Not that reading points matter on the route that we're on. I feel bad for Issei, but I should probably prioritize my part-time job. I never promised I'd go, but since I said I'd try, I should probably keep my word.
いや、悪い、一世。先約があるんで、今朝の続きはまたにしてくれないか。
先約？ああ、例のアルバイトか。そうか、それは困らせたな。
すまん。明日の朝一で続きをするから、それでチャラにしてくれ。ん？そこまで深刻な話でもないと言っただろう。急を要していたものは今朝で片付いた。残った修理品はエミヤの手が空いた時で構わんさ。そっか。じゃあ、バイトの休みが取れたら続きをするってことでいいかな。
一切ない。その時はまた頼りにするぞ、エミヤ。
Issei bids me a stiff farewell and leaves the classroom.
さて。
I shouldn't dawdle. I may not have been given a specific time, but now that I've decided to go to my part-time job, I need to hurry over to the neighboring town. You know, the town with all the gas leaks.
It's fine.
It's totally fine. And now
参った
it's
な。
nighttime.
ほんの手伝いのつもりだったのに、3万円ももらってしまった。
It's like an unexpected windfall or a stroke of good luck. Yeah, 30,000 yen's not too bad for a day's work. It's about 300 bucks.
Yeah.
Copenhagen, where I work today, is like a bar and supermarket that sells liquor all in one, and it takes a lot of people to restock inventory for this place. It's a job that needs at least 5 people, but the more people you have after that makes everyone's lives easier. Yet the boss is always like,
手伝える人は手伝ってね。
he mentions it so casually to the part-time workers and seemed to think it was enough. But I'm the only one who showed up. The only people there for inventory were me, the boss, and Neko, his daughter. I'll help workers.
バカだね、あんた。そりゃ誰も来るわけないじ
Oh
ゃん。
yeah, Neko. We actually get to meet her in the fan disc in Hollow Ataraxia. Neko was scolding the boss, yet I was the only fool who came, ready to be sacrificed. The two of them unenthusiastically applauded when I showed up, and then we all decided to organize the storage room as much as possible. And then, we somehow finished the inventory in 2 hours.
驚いたな。シロ君はあれかな。ブラウニーか何かかな。
The boss remarks as he eats a brown cake and surveys the afternoon's work.
違います。力仕事には慣れてるし、ここのバイトも長いし、倉庫のどこに何があるかぐらいは把握してるからです。伊達にガキの頃からここで張って。
あ、そっか。あれ、シロ君ってもう5年だっけ？
そのぐらいですね。親父が亡くなってからすぐに雇ってくれたの、親父さんのとこだけだったし。
Yeah, I was the guy that hired a 12-year-old, yeah. Weird. The boss stuffs his mouth with a rum cake. Next to him, Neko is nursing a bottle of warm sake. The owner has a sweet tooth, while the daughter is the drinker of the family. They sure balance each other out well. And...
けど助かったわ。こんだけやってもらって、おだちんがケーキだけっていうのもあれだし。はい、これ僕からの気持ち。
Here's a little something from me. It's $300. He waves 3 10,000 yen bills at me. It's more than I'd get for a week's worth of labor, not 3 hours.
どうも。
I hesitate, but I take whatever I can get. Just as I'm about to leave Copenhagen.
ちょい待ち。エミヤ、今日の話誰から聞いた？
Neko stops me while she's curled up in front of a heater, resting.
So her name's very fitting.
I mean, she's referring to him as Emiya. She's curling up in front of heater. She's named Neko. Yeah, you know.
確か古見さんですけど。
学生に自分の仕事を押し付けるんじゃないってのよ、ハグバカ。まあそれはいいとして。何？じゃあ。
まあ暇だったら手伝ってくれって感じで。
古見もバカだけど、エミヤンもおバカさん？まあいいけど。君さ、人の頼みを断ったことないでしょ。前に私と父が風邪で寝込んだ時も店番してくれたし。
I think you were about 13 at the time.
別にそんなことはないですけど、俺無理な注文は受けませんもん。自分でできることでできる場合だけ引き受けますから。
あん時君も風邪ひいてたんだけどね。まあいいけど、私が何を言いたいかっていうとですね、エミヤンはいいやつでちょっとバカで、そのあたり私は心配なので、今度藤村にちょっとは顔出せやこらと伝えておいてほしいんです。
With a huge amount of oranges again. Neko makes circles with her fingers in the air as she downs her sake. She seems to think I'm a dragonfly or something.
はあ。とにかくFuji-neeに伝言？
そう。じゃあね。あんまし頑張りすぎんなよ、少年。
いつの間にか橋越えてら。
There were some lines there, but I didn't get to read them. I walked through the still darkened town. It's about 7:30.
The line was something to the effect of having already crossed the bridge.
Yeah. I made out about that much. There should still be people out and about at this hour, but there are no signs of anyone around.
そういえば確か
There was a crime committed in Miyama the other day. A burglar murdered someone, I think. Must be why there's no one around, and why the school curfew has been set to 6 o'clock.
ガス漏れに強盗か。物騒なことになってきたな。
No wonder people are avoiding walking around at night. It's probably not safe to let Sakura go home on her own anymore. Fuji-nee might be fine, but Sakura's house is in the residential area on the other side of town. Guess I should walk her home starting tonight. I can't quite believe what I'm seeing. I must be wrong. I sense a presence on the uphill path I was sure was empty. Whoever it is, they're standing still and look to be peering down at me. I unconsciously hold my breath. A girl with silvery hair smiles and walks down the path without making a sound. And as she passes by,
早く呼び出さないと死んじゃうよ、お兄ちゃん。
okay, bye! What she says makes no sense. I climb up the hill and reach my house. The lights are already on, which means Sakura and Fuji-nee are home. The moment I step into the living room, I smell the delicious aroma of dinner. Sakura and Fuji-nee are both eating at the table. Tonight's meal is chicken, stewed in cream sauce, and it's put Fuji-nee in an especially good mood.
おかえりなさい、先輩。お先に失礼していますね。
ただいま。遅くなってごめんな。もうちょっと早く帰ってくればよかったんだけど。
I feel like it should probably be pretty alarming when some random child with white hair and red eyes suddenly shows up out of nowhere and tells you some cryptic bullshit and then dips without warning. Yeah, a little bit.
頼む。手を洗ってくるから、人のおかずを食べないように藤姉を見張っといてくれ。
はい、きちんと見張っています。
I go to my room. Like my actual one, not the one in the shed. It's a sparse room compared to the storehouse, but it's still decorated enough, considering I don't have any particular hobbies. Though most of them are random things Fuji-nee just left here. After I wash my hands and change, I head back to see my food on the table.
いただきます。
はい、お口に合えばいいんですけど。
Sakura's humble as ever. Sakura's cooking skills have vastly improved over the past year. My cooking is no match for her Western foods. My Japanese dishes might be a little better. Neither of us is any good at making Chinese dishes. Glad to know she's improving, but it's also a little depressing when the pupil surpasses her master. It really is delicious. The longer you cook chicken, the tougher the meat gets. Which is why you should just eat it raw. Which is why you need to take the extra step of grilling the chicken to a crisp to seal in its juices and flavor. This requires exceptional skill, and it's something the clumsy Fuji-nee would never be able to manage.
どうでしょうか、先輩。その、今日のはうまくいったと思うんですけど。
文句なし。ホワイトソースも絶妙だ。もう洋物じゃサクにはかなわないな。
さくらちゃんがご飯作ってくれるようになってからお肉関係が美味しくなった。
Fuji-nee, who's been concentrating on her meal until now, pipes up.
ダメよシロ。学生がこんな洋服に帰ってきちゃいけないんだから。
Well, are you gonna give me $300? Because my part-time job does. She looks to be in good spirits thanks to Sakura's meal, but the moment she sees my face, her mood turns sour.
もうまた誰かの手伝いをしてたんでしょう。それはそれでいいことだけど、
Not really
こんな時ぐらいは早
helping
く
if
帰っ
you're
てきな
getting
さい。
paid.
最近物騒だぞってホームルームで言ったじゃない。
Look, nothing weird happened. I just met this girl with white hair and red eyes on the way home who told me I better summon one soon or I was gonna die.
あ
I don't know what that
シ
means,
ロに倒
but...
して言ったんだからね。
さ、わざわざホームルームで言わなくてもうちで言えばいいんじゃないの？
You don't need to make a homeroom announcement or something you can tell me in a room. At home.
ここで言っても聞かないもの。学校でガツンと言った方がシロには効果的なんだもん。
Well, how'd that work out for you, Taiga?
先生、それは職権乱用というか公私混同だと思います。
それぐらいしないとシロはダメなのよ。いつも人の手伝いばっかりして損してるからさ。たまにはまっすぐ帰ってきてのんびりしててもいいじゃない、バカチン。
バカチンとはなんだよ、バカチンとは。いいじゃないか、誰かの手伝いをしてそれでその人が助かるんなら損なんかしてないぞ。
キリツグさんに似たのかな。シロがそんなんじゃお姉ちゃん心配だよ。
Seeing Fuji-nee eating so heartily makes me wonder what exactly she's worried about.
藤村先生、今の話からすると先輩って昔からそうなんですか？
昔からそうなの。なんか困ってる人がいたら自分から手を出しちゃうタイプ。けどおせっかいってわけじゃなくて、シロはね、単におませさんなのだ。
Bit precocious. As you do. Fuji-nee grins menacingly.
藤ね、余計なこと言ったら怒るぞ。もうさくらもつまんないこと聞くなよな。
I glare at the two. Fuji-nee clicks her tongue in disapproval,
藤村
but
先生、お話を続けてください。
Sakura presses on like an attentive student.
じゃあ話しちゃおう。これがね、シロは困った人を放っておけない性格なのよ。弱きを助け強きをくじくってやつ。子供の頃の作文なんてね、僕の夢は正義の味方になることですだったんだから。
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah. Oh, quit bringing up the past, Fuji-nee. I can't really jump in though because it's true. Besides, becoming a hero of justice is still my goal. I'm much more in favor of this translation than the fan translation that just kept saying he wanted to be a superhero.
すごかったよ。年上の男の子にいじめられてる女の子がいたら助けに入ってくれたし、キリツグさんが武将だったから家事だって一生懸命こなしてたし。あの頃は可愛くて純真だったのに、それがどうしてこんなひねくれた子になっちゃったんだろうな。
Gee, I wonder what authority figure in his life could have been a bad influence on him, Fuji.
そりゃ藤姉がいたからだろう。ダメな大人を見てると子供はいろいろ考えるんだよ。悔しかったらちゃんと自分で飯作ってみろ。
なっ。
Fuji-nee is shocked. I thought she'd just lower her head and repent, but...
お姉ちゃんは悲しいよ。さくらちゃん、おかわり。
She holds out her rice bowl, asking for a third helping of dinner. And this is why I have to work part-time jobs, Fujimura. We relax after dinner, and it's almost 9 o'clock.
さて、何をしたもんか。
There's still some time before my evening training. I guess we'll make another save point. Huzzah! So we can take Sakura home. We can play with Fujimura. And hang out with our older sister teacher. Or we could just, fuck it, I'm done, I'm going to bed, good night.
I mean, there's an obvious correct answer.
Well, it might be good to see how Fuji-nee is doing. Sort of a way to get in some light after meal exercise.
だな。さくらにつまんない話しやがって。好きあらば仕返ししてやる。
何？お風呂入ってたんじゃないの？
Fuji-nee is silently peeling tangerines, eating them for dessert. 2 tangerine peels shaped like floating flowers are lying on top of the table. I feel like she's been cursed or something. She can't peel apples to save her life, but her tangerine peels are like works of art.
風呂は後にした。さっきの話でケチついたんで、風呂の前に文句言っとこうと思って。
別にいいじゃん。もう昔のことなんだし、さくらちゃんも喜んでたし。それよりはい、今日のノルマ。チローは1日1個だからね。
She takes a small tangerine out from a basket on the table and tosses it to me.
って、みかんぐらいで懐柔されないぞ。さくらだったからいいようなものの、学校であんな話するなよ。一世あたりが変な心配するから。
みつづりさんは大笑いしそうだけどね。なんて言われなくても分かってるわよ。シローの子供の頃の話なんてさくらちゃん以外にはしないから。
だからさくらにもするなって言ってるの。あんなつまんない話されたらさくらだっていい迷惑だろ。もうないと思うけど今度やったら怒るからな。
I glare at Fuji-nee with all my might, showing how serious I am. I'm super serial right now, Fuji-nee. Angry eyebrows.
ほほー。なんだ。そっか。そういうわけ。つまりシローはそうなのよ。
Stop embarrassing me in front of my kohai mom. Despite my efforts, Fuji-nee grins, clearly pleased with herself.
なんかこうカチンときたかも。何納得してんだよ、バカトラ。
I scowl angrily at Fuji-nee.
トラでもいいよーだ。要するにあれでしょ。シローはさくらちゃんに知られるのが嫌だったのよ。他の人に正義の味方になりたいなんて知られても気にしないけど、さくらちゃんに知られるのは恥ずかしかったわけね。
That's not true, I think.
そういうことならどんどん話しちゃうから。そっか。シローもようやくさくらちゃんを意識しだしたか。教師としてちょっと心配だけど、保護者としてはちょっと安心したかな。けどお姉ちゃんはちょっと寂しいかな。
Her speech is almost weirdly emotional, and then half a heartbeat later, she shoves a whole tangerine into her mouth. Peel and all, Fuji-nee can fit anything up to the size of her fist in her mouth. An act like that might be alluring if it were in the wild savannah or something, but such feral charm seems kind of unbecoming for a mature woman like her.
あれ先輩お風呂入ってた
Well,
んじゃ
she's
ない
only
ですか？
In comes Sakura. She heads right into the living room, having finished up with the dishes.
ああ、 藤姉に話があってちょっと後回し。さくら、みかん食べるか？
Hey Sakura, Fuji-nee has an entire basket full of tangerines. You want one? I reach over for the stack of tangerines in a basket. It's unexpected, but the three of us relaxing together after dinner is kinda nice.
それならさっき藤村先生にいただきました。私用に取っておいてくれたおみかんで美味しかったです。
さくらちゃんは生の果物はダメだからね。調理したやつかアイスみたいに冷やしてないと食べてくれないのだ。で、さくらちゃんそろそろ時間？
はい、後片付けも済みましたから今日はもう帰ります。
そっか。じゃあ私もおいとまするわ。さくらちゃん行こう。最近は物騒だから近くまで送って行ってあげる。
Fuji-nee halts her mass consumption of tangerines and gets to her feet, somehow managing to look bold. The way she gets up gives the impression of a responsible elder.
いいんですか、先生。
Taiga always has tangerines on hand, by the way. She just gets the things by the
さくらちゃんも
crateful.
シロも私が預かってるんだから、
Passes
ちゃ
them
ん
all
と
on
家
to
まで送り
Shiro.
届けないと。
Yeah.
シロもそれでいいでしょ。私たちが帰ったらちゃんと戸締まりして寝るのよ。
If anyone's gonna get Sakura home safe, you're a good candidate for it, Fujimura. Nobody's gonna fuck with the
藤
mafia.
姉なら鹿が出ようが熊が出ようが安心だ。
I won't be afraid of perverts or bears.
さすがにクマは無理でしょ。うん、無理だからここまで逃げ帰ってくるね。そしたら二人でやっつけて、明日は熊鍋かな。
I like that Taiga's like, I don't know that I could take a bear, but you and me, we could take a bear together. Fuji-nee smiles fearlessly. Yeah. Fuji-nee typically marches to a different beat. A beat so loud and discordant it wreaks havoc on everything around her. But as a teacher, she's also so courageous, it's almost admirable.
Go 行こっか、さくらちゃん。それじゃ、また明日ね、シロ。
はい。それじゃあおやすみなさい、先輩。
Yeah, mata ashita. The two leave the mansion. I see them off from the front door, and then I lock the door behind them as instructed by Fuji-nee.
And then go out to sleep in the unlocked shed.
Meanwhile, outside in the shed. And that's how my day ends, in the shed. Just before midnight, Shiro Emiya must perform the daily routine of utilizing Magecraft. I cross my legs, take my position, and regulate my breathing. I try to empty my mind. I ignore everything around me and turn my focus inward.
トレス。
I mutter the familiar incantation as if putting myself in a spell. No, this is a kind of hypnosis. With no magic crest and no magical knowledge, the incantation I mutter is really just a way to focus myself and charge my body.
Change.
That too. Typically, humans do not have any lines which allow magical energy to pass through their body. To temporarily change my body to create a pseudo version of the lines, I need enough concentration to unify my entire physical and nervous system. Magecraft is a battle with yourself. For example, I insert a burning steel rod into my backbone.
Ow.
The steel rod itself is the one and only magic circuit I can prepare for myself. By passing this deep within my body and connecting it to my other nerves, I can finally be a mage. This is not a metaphor. And if you look closely, a series of metal rods, which cannot normally be seen or touched, pierce my backbone.
Okay, here's the thing though. If I could get magic powers from inserting a series of, like,
Flaming hot steel rods into
into
your
my back,
backbone.
I absolutely would.
Well, the good news is, you can! Proof positive, Shiro Emiya.
In a video game. Excuse me for not instantly believing that. No, but real talk, if I could give myself magic, even if it cost me a ridiculous amount of pain, I would 100% do it.
What about perverted bears, Shiro? This is a very pertinent question to be asked in this franchise. Yeah, true story. Keep in mind, Shiro has no fucking idea what he's talking about. He's just making shit up as he goes. Kiritsugu Emiya was a mage. He was a true mage who disciplined himself in a wide variety of mystics, plumbed the deeper secrets of the world and its workings, and even performed miracles. Kiritsugu Emiya did not perform miracles, and as a young child I admired Kiritsugu and begged him to teach me Magecraft. But you can't just become a mage, you have to be born with talent, and inherit a tremendous amount of knowledge. I obviously never had that inborn talent, and Kiritsugu never imparted any knowledge about Magecraft to me. I was told it wasn't necessary for me. Something like that. I still don't understand what he meant by that. But it didn't matter to me as a child. I always thought learning Magecraft would bring me that much closer to being like Kiritsugu. I was blessed neither with talent, that is, an abundance of magic circuits within me, nor was generations of Magecraft knowledge handed down to me. The Magecraft Kiritsugu possessed, the magic crest passed down from the Emiya family, can only be passed to a blood relative. A magic crest, which is proof one is a mage, rejects any non-blood related. I don't think that's strictly true in the greater franchise, but again, Shiro doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, so... As an adopted son, I could not receive the Emiya family's crest. Or Kiritsugu just told you that because he didn't want to give it to you. Then again, since I honestly don't have any idea what the hell a magic crest even is, it doesn't matter much whether I have one or not.
Somehow I get the feeling it matters very much whether you have one or not.
It does make Magecraft a lot easier. It's just a matter of gaining the ability. If I want to be a mage, I just have to learn Magecraft that suits the traits that I do have. Magecraft is, taken to its extreme, a skill supposedly meant to release magical energy. You could say that magical energy is a life force. Magical energy is separated into two sources: mana, which comes from the world's atmosphere, and odd, which is created within living creatures. Obviously, mana, which comes from the world itself, is superior to odd. The sheer power of the world's mana is simply not even comparable to the odd one human can create. No matter what the form it takes, Magecraft utilizing mana will always surpass anything created from an individual's odd. So a powerful mage is one who excels at drawing magical energy from the world. It's a lot like a filtration system, which I very nearly misread as flirtation system. A mage will use their own body's circuits to draw in mana from outside and convert it into something usable. Mages call the circuits they use to accomplish this magic circuits. This is the inborn talent part. The number of magic circuits one has is determined at the moment of birth. Typically, humans have hardly any magic circuits. They're normally quite rare. That's why mages will spend generations trying to ensure their descendants have a body more suitable for magic. Some families even go as far as to practice selective breeding in order to increase the number of magic circuits in their children. And since I was raised in a normal family, I never had a chance of having much in the way of magic circuits. That left me only one option. According to Kiritsugu, everyone is well suited to one specific form of Magecraft. He also said something about drawing out magical energy based on the person's origin, but I never quite understood that part. What I do understand is that even someone like me can use at least one form of Magecraft. If I can do that, then maybe I can be like Kiritsugu. And that's why I've only learned this one Magecraft. That was 8 years ago. After a lot of thought, Kiritsugu took me on as his disciple, though he never seemed happy about it.
いいかいシロ、魔術を習うということは常識からかけ離れるということだ。死ぬ時は死に、殺す時は殺す。僕たちの本質は生ではなく死だからね。魔術とは自らを滅ぼす道に他ならない。
I guess I knew no fear as a child. Kiritsugu smiled bitterly, placing a hand atop my head as I nodded enthusiastically.
君に教えるのはそういった争いを呼ぶ類のものだ。だから人前で使ってはいけないし難しいものだから、でもまあそれは破ったって構わない。一番大事なことはね、魔術は自分のためじゃなくて他人のためだけに使うということだよ。そうすればシローは魔術使いではあるけど魔術師ではなくなるからね。
I guess Kiritsugu didn't want me to be a mage. Mages are awful in general, but I didn't care about that. I admired Kiritsugu, not mages. As long as I can be the sort of person who lives to help others, like Kiritsugu did on that day of the fire and nightmare. I got distracted. I feel the uncomfortable sensation of the iron rod in my backbone moving where it shouldn't.
You should maybe have that looked at.
Losing control of my breathing now would be fatal. The pseudo-magic circuits would overwhelm my body and shred it to pieces. And that would be the end of me. Shiro Emiya would simply be a novice who died because he failed at an elementary step. I grit my teeth and try to recover my connection. Whoa!
Whoa!
Okay, no, we definitely gotta go back. Somehow. I don't know how. Okay.
I don't even know what I pressed.
Well, whatever it is, don't do it again.
Hard to do when I don't know what I pressed. The controller was literally sitting in my lap.
Torres.
Yeah, magic circuits, battle, example, seal rod.
僕は魔法使いなんだ。
Rotation systems, yep, inborn talent.
いいかい、僕たちの本質は君に教えるんだ。でもまあ一番大事なことはね、魔術は自分のためじゃなくて他人のためだけに使うということだよ。
Fatal enemy died elementary step. I think this is where we broke it. I think. I grit my teeth and oh yeah, we were just a little bit past this, right? After pain like walking through a storm of needles, the iron rod finally sinks deep within my body and fuses with me.
That sounds painful.
I've been working on this for a little over an hour. And after all that time, I'm finally able to create one pseudo-circuit. A circuit capable of creating magical energy using my own self.
基本骨子解明。
All that's left is to allow the magical energy to flow naturally. Shiro Emiya is no mage. He's just a user of Magecraft who can only create magical energy within his body and channel it into objects. And that's why I can only do one thing with this Magecraft, which is...
構成材質解明。
enhancing objects. It's not just strengthening Magecraft, where I apprehend an object's... apprehend? Where I apprehend an object's structure and channel magical energy to temporarily reinforce its ability. I don't think apprehend is the word they wanted.
基本骨子変更。
I'm gonna arrest this object's structure. What the hell? I hold a broken iron pipe. I pass magical energy through it to execute the most basic Magecraft, to enhance its durability. Passing magical energy into something other than yourself is like mixing poison. My blood is a far cry from the blood of an iron pipe, in that an iron pipe does not have blood. Forcing an entirely different sort of blood through an object may well destroy it rather than enhance it. So I could be making a pipe bomb. To prevent that from happening, I need to properly understand an object's structure and pass magical energy into it between the small vacant spaces.
構成材質補強。
This may be easy for a skilled mage, but since I have a hard time generating magical energy in the first place, even a task like this is as difficult as shooting an arrow and hitting a target several hundred meters from you. A typical archery target is 28 meters away. So it goes without saying how hard it would be to hit a target at 10 times that distance. My body temperature suddenly plummets. The fiery pillar passing through my backbone disappears, and my lungs seize in desperate need of oxygen. My back arches in an effort to keep me from passing out.
ああ、くそ。また失敗か。
The iron pipe is unchanged. The magical energy I passed into it appears to have dispersed.
元から形があるものに手を加えるのはきつい。
What I'm attempting to do is like adding an extra brushwork to a completed work of art. Adding something extra to a complete object raises the risk of compromising the object's integrity. The paintbrush, hoping to improve, may actually devalue the work instead. Which is why, despite its simplicity, strengthening magic is so difficult, and not many mages willingly use it. Adding something extra to a completed object compromises its integrity, huh? I don't think my table just fell apart because I placed my phone on it.
Yeah, well.
And it's not that I chose this, but it's really all I can do. It would be much easier if I could make something from shapeless clay, but a substitute that just recreates its form is all show and no substance. Which explains all the junk around. Whenever I fail at strengthening Magecraft, I try to make substitute objects to practice and calm down on, and they all end up empty. I can visualize the structure of an object easily, and I can recreate something very similar, but it's hollow and obviously doesn't function at all. I wipe the sweat off my brow. I realize I'm absolutely dripping with sweat. If this is as bad as it got, I should consider myself lucky. But what happened earlier was really bad. Had I taken even a second longer to recover, my internal organs would probably be mush about now.
死にかけた分上達するならまだ見込みがあるんだけどな。
If only you were a Saiyan and could get Zenkai boosts. But nothing comes that easily. At the same time, fear of death will stand in the way of improving my Magecraft. Learning Magecraft means courting death at every turn. Even rudimentary, everyday Magecraft can spin wildly out of control from a single mistake, ending the caster's life.
魔術師にとって一番初めの覚悟とは死を容認することだ。
Kiritsugu always looked sad when he brought that up. Maybe it was his way of saying that he didn't want me getting into any of this.
誰かを助けるということは誰かを助けないということ。正義の味方っていうのはとんでもないエゴイストなんだか。
Kiritsugu always said that whenever I mentioned wanting to be like him, whenever he fails to make a metal pipe more metally, he decides to spontaneously create matter as a recreational hobby. Yeah. Shiro's like, fuck, I couldn't make this pipe stronger. Well, let me just make a new pipe. I still don't know what he meant by that. All I'm certain of is that I want to save people, to be a hero of justice, like Kiritsugu Emiya.
その割にこんな処方がうまくいかないんだもんな。なんでいざって時に雑念が入るん
You're
だ。
aware this person you idolized is at least partly responsible for the death of your actual parents?
Yeah, I don't think he does. It's not enough for me to just grasp at the object's structure visually. A skilled mage would be able to focus only on the crucial areas and efficiently channel magical energy. My dream is to become a hero of justice. I remember what Fuji-nee mentioned at dinner. I never really thought of that goal as embarrassing or impossible. That Shiro Emiya will succeed Kiritsugu Emiya has already been decided. That's why I've been doing everything I can despite how sorely I lack in experience. I don't know exactly what it means to be a hero of justice. I never watched Tokusentai growing up, clearly. But because I don't know, I've trained myself to be the best, trained myself to the best of my abilities in hopes I'll be useful to somebody. Oof. I haven't taken my eye off that goal these past 5 years, but whenever things go wrong like this, I start to have doubts. This guy is like really relatable actually. He's like, I just want to be useful to somebody, but then shit goes wrong and I'm like, am I a failure? Do I suck? What the hell do I have to do to be a hero of justice? I look up at the sky through a window. It's not just about being good for someone out of the blue. Saving someone and being a hero of justice are two different things. I know that, but what do I have to do to differentiate them? I've yet to understand that crucial concept for the past 5 years. Save the game. Ah, that means day 2! Yeah, we'll just overwrite that later. It's not a choice point. It's not necessary to keep in the long term. Welcome back to February 1st. Fate's Day Night 2, 1 Day 2. I awake to darkness. My eyes are closed. I guess I'm not much for dreaming. Unless something big happens, I always have the same dream anyway. I always envision a sword. I have no idea why, but that's the only thing that pops into my head.
You have that in common with Reen.
There's no rhyme or reason to it. Perhaps this is what defines me as, well, me, as Shiro Emiya. He also has it in common with me. I often also dream of swords, and knives, and bladed implements in general. I don't have any dreams of my own. The only things on my mind while I sleep are what others taught me long ago.
By the way, you say that as if I don't know that, as if I haven't literally bought you swords for your birthday before.
Oh, you know. For example, on how to be a mage. Even if I'm not a full-fledged mage, it's only natural for a mage to be aware of the world they're in. Put simply, A mage is an irregular, an outcast from society. But even outcasts need to band together to survive. My old man told me there's a society of mages called a Mages Association. He also told me I shouldn't ever get involved with them. Fuck those guys.
Presumably because the Mages Association would want you dead for knowing about magic.
The Mages Association is said to conceal the existence of Magecraft and manage mages. The Mages Association watches over mages and makes sure their Magecraft doesn't affect society. But the strange thing is that they don't really prohibit mages from abusing Magecraft either. According to Kiritsugu, the Mages Association is only interested in concealing mystics. Even if, say, a mage carried out an experiment that sacrificed, let's say, a lot of citizens, the association wouldn't punish them. Their priorities are expressly in preventing the public from becoming aware of Magecraft, which doesn't mean Magecraft is completely banned. Honestly, anything goes as long as the truth doesn't come out. At least that seems to be how that insane bunch conducts themselves, according to Kiritsugu. Whatever it is, the Mages Association's surveillance is absolute, says Kiritsugu. Typical Magecraft research sacrifices the lives of ordinary humans, which, in turn, risks revealing the existence of Magecraft to the world. As such, the Mages Association doesn't permit research that would harm society. Ultimately, mages conduct their research in their privacy of their homes, while the world is none the wiser. So, mages sometimes go into hiding to escape the association's scrutiny and oversight. So there may be some mages living in this town, and I just don't know it. Or like 2 whole families of mages, and also some other ones. I also hear Fuyuki is a spiritual hotspot of sorts. That probably means there's some prestigious mage with a storied history living here. They're called Second Owners, elite mages the association entrusts to watch over territory. Other mages who live in the same area must visit these Second Owners first to get permission to build their workshops. My old man was an outlaw who cut ties with the association and moved here without the consent of Fuyuki's second owner. So in a way, our family is a bunch of trespassers living in a house without permission from the landlord. Which means the second owner doesn't know that Kiritsugu Emiya was a mage. So I tend to feel like our family's status as mages is kind of unclear. But then my old man, the bona fide mage, died. And even though I'm his disciple and son, I don't know a thing about the Mages Association and have no real knowledge about being a mage. I have a feeling the association would want to dispose of someone like me, but they haven't made any sort of move.
Because they don't know you exist.
True story. Apparently, the Mages Association doesn't have many eyes in Japan, so that's probably why I haven't been found yet. Yeah, they got eyes all over Europe, though. But that doesn't mean I can let my guard down. The eyes of the Mages Association are said to be everywhere, and if someone commits a crime using Magecraft, the church's heretic hunters will make their move. Using Magecraft, however half-assed you may be about it, makes you enemies. So, with all that in mind, I honestly just want to study being a mage on my own. Holy shit, we woke up in our bedroom this time? I wake up as the sunlight starts to pour in through the window. Looks like the sun's just now coming up. Still dark out. I feel that. I got up this morning and didn't move for like an hour because I was too comfortable. I get up, trying not to let the morning cold discourage me, and quickly fold up my futon. It's 5:30. I've always been an early riser, no matter how late I go to bed. I might mess up once in a while, like yesterday, but that's rare. I let Sakura do all the work yesterday, so it would look kind of bad if I didn't return the favor this morning. I should hurry up and finish making breakfast before Sakura comes. I cook rice and make miso soup. Yesterday, the soup had daikon radish and carrots, so I'm making onion and potato miso soup today. I make the egg omelet, use the leftover konnyaku to simmer it with bonito flakes. I make incisions into the sari fish, which will be the main dish, and sprinkle it with a little salt. All I have to do is broil it, but that can wait until the last minute.
よし、こんなんでいいか。
What exactly is a bonito flakes?
I've always been told they're fish flakes.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Although I don't know why you put fish flakes on fish. That seems redundant. It's almost 6. I finished earlier than expected, so I have some time on my hands. So, what do we do with the extra time other than make a save point over that save point that we just made 5 seconds ago?
そうだ
Or
な。
maybe not.
これだけ時間があれば一汗流せるか。
Morning exercise is my daily routine, so I might as well do some light workouts. Oh yeah, you actually... Right. There is no choice there. But there is actually a choice there, but only when we're on the 3rd route. There's a choice there, but not now. And because we went and helped out Sakura yesterday, we are now getting a slightly different scene at the dojo in the morning. Because otherwise we would have gone to the dojo yesterday and gotten an explanation about what the dojo is already.
Okay.
The hushed atmosphere of an old, empty dojo encourages one to focus. And in the morning, just as the sun rises, its serenity makes the mood even more sacred, enthralling whoever visits the site.
さて。
Anyway, there's only one thing I do here. Ever since my old man died, the dojo has turned into a gym to train my body. Training to be a mage means I can't neglect training my body. One of the conditions of being a mage is maintaining yourself at your physical peak. When Kiritsugu was still alive, he and I sparred often. Well, more that he just kicked my ass every time, so I never really learned how to win myself. But at least I learned the difference between a fight and a battle. In other words, I learned the difference between killing and beating an opponent and how to conduct myself in each situation.
Oh, you have a lot of experience with him killing you when you lost?
Knowledge and experience are different. Without the knowledge to know the difference, it's hard to tell if you've gotten yourself into a fight or a massacre. It's as simple as that. Learning Magecraft means that there is a risk of perishing on your own, as well as the risk of having to fight. And to mages, that means killing each other. That's why Kiritsugu wanted to teach me that I must always be ready to face death. But the person reminding me of that lesson is long gone. 5 years gone, in fact. So the only thing I can do alone is some simple exercises.
じゃあま、本格的にやっておくか。
After I stretch to warm up, I focus on my inner strength and begin my exercises. As I train my body, I assess how my magic circuits affect my blood flow, my skeletal frame's creaking, the fatigue I feel, and how much all that distracts my thoughts.
Magic circuit, singular, as I understand it.
Right. Just the one, and only when he creates it. By shoving a flaming hot rod into his spine.
That really doesn't sound pleasant. Although, again, if that's the price you pay for magic power, bring it on. But...
Yeah, but the magic power is literally only the ability to strengthen shit, and even then he can't actually do that very well. So, you know.
Yeah, but that isn't necessarily the power I'd get. Every mage is different.
That's true. Your specialty might be something equally lame, like making a clean floor.
Oh no, that would be so helpful.
But like only hardwood.
With the pets I have at home, that would be so helpful. Are you kidding?
No, you've got carpets. It wouldn't work.
I mean, I've got hardwood in the living room, and I'm fairly certain it's actually hardwood under all the rugs.
120 150 170
That is not how you count, Shiro. 1, 2, skip a few, 120, 150, 170.
That's not even proper skip counting.
No. Even simple push-ups can train my magic circuits as long as I focus on my mental state rather than putting physical weights on my body. With no proper mentor teaching me Magecraft, morning training is no different than what most sports clubs do, and they've become very important for me. In order to be a magic, I gotta be ripped.
ね、朝食の支度なら済んでる。あとは食器の支度と魚に火を通すだけ。
Wait, I thought you were broiling the fish. Now you're grilling it? Those are different things.
Yes. Although I'm pleasantly surprised at you knowing that.
I mean, you don't grill things in an oven. But also, from what very limited bit of understanding I have, the grill is mostly heating from the bottom, where the broiler is mostly heating from the top.
Not necessarily true in every oven for the broiler.
それならお手伝いします。食器の支度は任せてください。
Sakura is clearly eager in her reply. And coming in behind the ever-dependable Sakura...
あ、この匂いはシローの卵焼きね。そっか、今朝はシローの朝ごはんなんだ。
Boy, that sounds like a euphemism, doesn't it? I smell Shiro's omelet.
Well, especially when she follows it up with him handling breakfast.
Right. Fuji-nee casually heads to the table.
まあ、あれは放っておいて。
I need to grill the prepared fish.
さくら、皿は真ん中のやつ使ってくれ。その方がうまく見えるから。
この表面がブツブツのですか？
そう、それ。焼き物は皿にも気を配らないと手抜かりになるからな。で、大根はもう吸ってあるから。
Sakura reaches far to take out the plates. As she reaches out, I think I see a faint bruise on the back of her hand.
さくら、ちょっと待った。
はい、何ですか先輩？
その手首のあざ、なんだ？
She averts her eyes, looking uneasy. Her reaction makes how she got the bruise clear.
またシンジか。あいつ、妹に手をあげるなんて何考えてやがる。
違います先輩。これは転んでぶつけちゃったんです。ほら、私鈍いでしょ？だからよく転んで怪我ばっかりしてるんです。
バカ、転んだぐらいでそんなあざがつくか。信じたやつ、どうやらまだ殴られ足りないみたいだな。
Now Shiro's ready to punch a
ダメです
bitch.
先輩。これ本当に兄さんは関係ないんです。私が一人で怪我をしただけなんですから、先輩に怒ってもらう資格なんてありません。
Sakura falls silent. Sakura may seem docile, but she's surprisingly stubborn. There's no use saying anything to her now.
わかった。さくらがそう言うんならそういうことにしておく。
はい、ごめんなさい先輩。
だからどうしてそこでさくらが謝るんだ。悪いのはシンジだろう。
The moment I say Shinji's name, Sakura awkwardly looks away. It can only mean he is the cause of the bruise on her hand.
Well, you were already assuming that anyway. That's a confirmation bias, dude.
Shinji Mato has a bad habit of treating his younger sister like crap. I noticed it about a year ago. Every now and then I'd see Sakura injured and she'd always make excuses when I asked what happened.
I did that from time to time as a kid. You and your childhood bestie talked me into a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, it was good times.
You also refused to basically ever actually ask if he could come over yourself. Both of you always sent me to do it.
It was easier that way.
Well, yeah. Our parents have always had a hard time saying no to me about things.
When I asked Shinji about it, he revealed to my shock that he'd been the one who hit Sakura.
I assumed that it was actually the weird foreigner we saw her with when we were with Ren.
I asked why, and he told me it was because she'd done something he hadn't liked.
No, not Inu and Baz. Inu and his best friend since literally the day Inu was born. Baz was a college acquaintance.
Baz and I didn't... It's surprising to find out, Baz and I didn't meet until 2008. Although we have known each other for over half our lives now. Not quite, almost.
I was about to say, 2008 isn't exactly half your life. Although, to be fair, when I think about half my life, well, that's all. Are you sure that's not half your life?
Yeah. I'm quite sure how math works. It's 2 years off.
Because I'd have been, what?
15.
15 in 2008, so that's almost half my life, because I'm 31.
That's over half your life.
So I'm just saying.
I got pretty pissed off, so I did to Shinji what he'd done to Sakura. We haven't been on great terms since then.
先輩兄さんとはその
Also, I think Bio doubts your statement that you're quite sure how math works.
I'm certainly more sure of it than Ella is.
Also, excellent point, Zed. How much are you really living when you're younger than 3?
うんしたよ。別に初めから喧嘩なんてしてないから仲直りも何もないけどな。
We never fought. I just punched him in his bitch-ass face.
先輩にとってはそうでしょうけど兄さんにとっては喧嘩をしたことになるんです。だから
What Sakura says strikes me as odd.
気をつけろって信じを？
はい兄さん先輩を目の敵にしてるって聞きました。その先輩が退部するようになったのも兄さんのせいだって。
それは違う。部活を辞めたのは信じとは関係ない。いや、そりゃ多少はあったかもしれないけど、そんなのはさくらが気に病むことじゃないぞ。確かに、信じの言う通り、ちょっと見苦しいからな、これは。
We never fought, Sakura. A fight would imply it was even a match. What happened between us was more of a slaughter. I point at my left shoulder. There's a little scar there. It happened about 1.5 years ago. Something fell on me during one of my jobs, injuring my left shoulder. I ended up with just a broken bone, but I also came away with a burn to my shoulder. After the accident, I quit the Kyudo club. Our school's Kyudo club, out of respect for formalities, allows students to perform sacred shooting rituals. Male students participating in this expose their left shoulder. Shinji pointed out that it may be disrespectful for someone performing a sacred shot to expose a scar, and since I was getting busy with my various jobs, I decided to quit the club.
先輩、しつこいようですけど、本当にもう弓は引かないんですか？藤村先生も怪我なんて支障はないって言ってるのに。
何を平和な。藤姉は全身骨折しようが支障ないっていうやつだぞ、さくら。
先輩、私真面目な話をしているんです。
Oh, so am I. Tiger would absolutely expect me to keep doing things if I broke every bone in my body. I know I should give her a serious answer, but unfortunately, I can't give Sakura the answer she's looking for.
当分は部活をしている余裕はないよ。弓は好きだけど、優先するべきことじゃないし、しばらくは間を取ろうと思う。
Why the hell am I even in this club then?
しばらくってどのくらいですか？
気が向いた頃かな。まあ、さくらが卒業するぐらいまでにはなんとか。その時はよろしくな、さくら。
I pat Sakura's shoulder.
Good child.
はい、私その時をお待ちしています。
She nods so violently, it looks like she might drop the plates. It's almost 7:30. Sakura and Fuji-nee have long since left the house for their morning club activities. I went to school early yesterday because Issei asked me to, but I leave the house at the usual time today. I noticed something strange as I walked down the hill towards the intersection. The air raid sirens are going off. Several police cars are parked in front of a house. Something must have happened since a crowd has gathered. There are easily 20 people watching. I'm curious, but the mass of people prevents me from finding out what's happening. It's probably a gas leak. I don't have much time, so I should hurry to school. I make it to school 10 minutes before the first bell. As I cross through the gate with plenty of time as usual.
Yeah, ohayo, Emiya.
Oh, Mitsuzuri. I run into a familiar student.
なんだ、まだ着替えてないのか、三つ釣り。もうすぐホームルームだぞ。俺に挨拶なんかしてる場合じゃないだろ
う。いや、ごもっとも。相変わらず釣れない野郎だね、エミヤは。
I don't know what's so funny, but she laughs heartily, not caring about her surroundings. This is Ayako Mitsuzuri. We've met her already, yes. She's been a classmate of mine since we were first years, and she's currently the captain of the Kyudo Club.
And rivals with Reed. Self-declared, anyway.
They're having a boyfriend contest. She's an unbelievably insightful person, and it was expected that she would be the team's next captain since her first year with them. Mitsuzuri's a precocious sort, and people have always had high hopes for her, and even leaned on her ever since she was a first year. Then again, she gets mad whenever someone mentions that in front of her, claiming she doesn't look as old as people think.
ああ、今あんた、よからぬ感想を漏らさなかったかもし。
Maybe.
そんなものは漏らさない。あくまで客観的な事実を連想しただけだ。それで気を悪くするのは三つ釣りの勝手だが。
お、言うじゃん。いいね。正直に答えるくせに何をどう考えてたかは口にしないんだもの。エミヤ、シンジと違って隙がないな。
シンジ？ なんでそこにシンジが出てくるんだ？
なんでも何も、あんたとシンジって友人じゃない。シンジの男友達ってあんただけでしょ。それにお忘れでしょうが、私これでも弓道部の首相なの。うちの問題児と辞めちまった問題児をくっつけるのは自然な流れだと思わない？
まあ確かに自然だ。弓道部ってのは関係ないけど、俺とあいつは腐れ縁だからな。
あ、カチンときた。あんたね、弓道部の話になると急に冷たくなるでしょ。いいご身分よね。シンジをほっぽっといて自分はさっさと退場しちゃうんだから。後に残された私とかさくらの気持ちとか少しは考えてくれてもいいんじゃない？
シンジのやつまたなんかやったのか？
あいつが何もやらない日なんてないけど、まあそれにしても昨日のはちょっとやりすぎか。
Oh god, what did he do?
1年の男子が1人辞めたぐらいだから。
Mitsuzuri sighs gravely. Seeing her look so serious is rare to begin with, but the rest of her story is particularly alarming.
なんだよそれ。部員が辞めたってなんで？
シンジのやつが八つ当たりしたのよ。わざわざ女子を集めてね、夢を持ったばかりの子に謝をさせて的中するまで笑い物にしたとか。
はあ？お前そんな馬鹿げたことを見過ごしてたってのか？
見過ごすか？けどさ、首相ってのはいろいろと忙しいんだ。いつも道場にいるわけじゃないってエミヤだって知ってるでしょ。
それはそうだが、にしても何考えてんだシンジのやつ。必要以上に厳しく教えることはあっても素人を見せ物にするようなやつじゃないだろう。
呆れた。エミヤっては本当にあれだ。
あれってなんだ？今お前よからぬ感想を漏らさなかったか？
あら、私はあくまで客観的な事実を連想しただけさ。それで気を悪くするのは。
ついさっき聞いたような返答をしやがって。いいよ、それよりシンジはどうしたんだよ。なんだってそんな真似をしたんだ？
聞いた話じゃ遠坂にこっぴどく振られたとかなんとか。
遠坂ってあの遠坂か？
うちの学校にあれ以外の遠坂なんていないでしょ。2年 A 組の優等生ミスパーフェクトこと遠坂凛よ。
いや、そんなあだ名は初めて聞いたけど。
It fits. No surprise Shinji got rejected. And knowing Tosaka, she probably had some pretty harsh insults to go with the rejection.
ともかくシンジのやつは昨日からずっとその調子よ。おかげで私もこんな時間まで道場で目を光らせてたってわけ。
シンジのやつ変にこらえが効かない時があるからな。三つ釣り大変だろうけど頑張ってくれ。
はいはい。けどね、シンジって懲りないでしょ。また遠坂に声をかけて振られた日には今度こそ遠坂本人に何かしそうでさ。
いや、いくら信じても振られた相手には近寄らないだろう。あいつそのあたりはちゃんとしてるぞ。
You sure
け
about
ど
that,
相手
Shiro?
が近寄
You
って
sure
くる
that's
ん
a
だからしょ
fact?
うがないじゃない。遠坂さ、なんか知らないけどうちの道場をよく見学に来るのよ。エミヤは辞めちゃったから知らないだろうけどね。
That's news to me. Rin Tosaka doesn't participate in any club activities because her family forbids it or something. She even turned down nominations to be a member of the student council, so I always thought she went straight home after school.
たまにはそれもいいか。あいつもお高く泊まってるし、一度ぐらいは痛い目に遭うのもいいかもね。お気の毒様っていうか、ご愁傷様っていうか。
It's no wonder Shinji got rejected. After all, Tosaka's standards wouldn't allow her to go for anyone who isn't either literally royalty or me. Yeah. Mitsuzuri has a weird way of looking at this. Now that I think about it, they say that Rin Tosaka has a lot of enemies. I wonder if Mitsuzuri's one of them too.
おい、三つ釣り。いくらなんでもそれは。
あ、そろそろ時間だ。じゃあね、エミヤ。今度私の弓の調子見に来てよ。
Mitsuzuri hastily runs off.
相変わらずだな、あいつ。
I never minded just how forthright she always is. I feel a bit more at ease and head towards the classroom. You know what? On that scene change...
I'd been wondering if that might be the appropriate time to do one of these.
Yeah.
That wasn't a choice, right?
No, that was not a choice. That was the start of day 2. So, since we've just swapped scenes, we're gonna go ahead and save up here. As a reminder, stay night is not next week. Willow's gonna be traveling, so I'll be doing something. I'm not entirely sure on what yet. I might see if Natsu's around and wants to do something, maybe. If not, or even if he is, it realistically, with what's coming out this week, it might just be Sparking Zero. What's up?
Sparking Zero, question mark?
Yeah, you know, the new Dragon Ball game.
Oh, yes.
The Budokai Tenkaichi 4. The game that I get 3-day early access to. Because I pre-ordered it.
I still have to get my pre-order in for Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Sorry, not Dreadwolf. They changed the name. For DA Valgard, because that comes out on Halloween. Which I conveniently had my after-school program take off. But I genuinely didn't take it off because of Valgard. I was reminded a couple days after I had the program take it off that Valgard released on the 31st. I took it off because I like being home for trick-or-treaters.
I see I'm not the only one that went and bought the, like, super high-end Sparking Zero edition. I can't help it, man. Like, Willow can attest. I fucking adore Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
You say as if I don't.
I know, it is my favorite fighting game of all time. I love that game tremendously. And the fact that they made another one, and that from everything I have heard from people that have had early access to it, is that it is every bit as good, if not better, than BT3. It has me so fucking excited for that. Like,
we spent a lot of time playing Key Blast volleyball in that game.
Yeah, I'll be watching Daima when it drops in some way. I never personally played BT3, but I put hundreds of hours into BT2. Willow and I played the fuck out of BT2 before BT3 came out. Like, yep. We had put an absurd amount of time into BT2, then BT3 came out, I got it day fucking 1, and we played the absolute dog shit out of it.
We had, because of how much time we spent playing volleyball with Key Blasts, we had, like, hairpin...
We had disgusting timing in BT3. Like, we had perfect vanishes down to a fucking science.
And nothing irritated Inu more than when I played as Android 18 and had access to Android Barrier.
Android Barrier is literally just an everything-proof shield in BT3. Like, giant fucking death ball, Android Barrier. Kamehameha, Android Barrier.
Destructo
Rush
Disc.
attack, Android Barrier. Key blast, android barrier. Literally looking at you the wrong way, android barrier.
So genuinely, there were days where I had a couple of backup units for the days Inu really just didn't want me playing android barrier.
Like
the
Zanya
game.
was much better. Wild Sense was also kind of bullshit.
Oh, yes, but by comparison to android barrier, significantly less bullshit.
At least the drawback to android barrier and Wild Sense both were that they took blast stock. So if I decided to just be rude and do something like play SS4 Gogeta, I just won anyway because he was so ridiculously overpowered that I could just burn through all your android barriers and then beat you up.
No, I just had to run away enough to get my android barrier back.
Not that SS4 Gogeta cared because he was wildly overtuned. Like, stupidly overtuned.
Right, but my point being that Android 18 didn't have any right to be as strong as she was under my control because android barrier.
I still remember the sick cover of BT2 with Future Trunks holding his sword up so that the blade reflected the silhouettes of some of the higher-ups from the cast. Yeah. So I decided to be rude and played SS4 Gogeta. So no more. Say no more. Fully understand. Yep. Yep. But yes, the BT2 cover is fucking badass as all hell, and I love it. Anyway, we should probably stop talking about Dragon Ball.
So that I can go
So
home
that you
and
can
pass
go home
out.
and pass out and not be sick. But yeah, no, there's a very high likelihood that I'm just going to be streaming Sparking Zero on Sunday next week because it's just an excuse for me to play more of it and still do something for stream. So yeah, it's probably going to be that unless like Natsu or somebody really wants to do something else. But yeah, that's sort of my default fallback. I
Yeah,
think,
no,
is just
no
play-
below next
is
week.
just play some BT4, play some Sparking Zero, and if I'm still working on story, it'll probably just be whatever bit of story I'm working on at the time with no context.
I was about to say zero context
It's
story
not like
mode.
everybody doesn't already know the story of Dragon Ball, right? Like, it's fine, whatever. So anyway, until next week.
We'll catch you later.